Ladies and gentlemen, chat, we are back for another week of the GeoGuessr World League. Week number 12 already, so, we hit the half point and now we're, going towards the end, but we have a lot of matches still to play. I'm your host, Ziggy, and as always, I am joined by my partner in crime. It is none other than Gelotris. How are we doing on this Sunday?
Doing great, Ziggy. Great to be with you again here, week 12. Indeed, over the halfway through. And we had some great weeks, but especially this week, I think I'm the most excited about. How is it for you?
Yeah, I think I would love to, show the matchups already, but, we're not quite there yet. We have some amazing matchups in our slot today. I can only say that's probably the best slot we have ever casted, just by the matchup standards. But yeah, great weekend so far. We had Rainbow streaming today or yesterday, and now we have the World League. So a lot of GeoGuessr going on this weekend. But before we get into the action, Gelotris, I think we need to freshen up the memory of the people that may be new to GeoGuessr and how you play it. Why don't you explain us?
We should do so. It is 3 steps. Shout out to the production for this very nice 3 pictures explaining it. But first off, you spawn. Both players are randomly placed somewhere in the world on the map. And yeah, you could end up in a city, in a village, somewhere in the rural mountains, wherever you are. And then you get to step 2, which is the guessing point. Here you have, after spawning, each player has to make a guess, and by putting down a pin, by guessing, you trigger a 15 seconds timer on your opponent. And then we go over to step 3, which is winning. Each round the player has, the one who's closer to the location with their pin will gain some health or reduce the health of the enemy. And the first one to be on 0 loses.
Sounds easy enough to me. In the World League, we do play 3 different game modes, and the players have to be good in all of the modes. We always start off the game with a moving game, where the players can move around freely, the only restriction being the 1-minute time limit that is in place for every mode. Then they go over to no move, and the players can look around, zoom around, but they cannot move anymore. And if a tiebreaker is needed, so if it's 1-1 after 2 games, then we go into the no move panning or zooming mode, which is basically just a screenshot, just a still image. But for these players, that is pretty much enough. That's just how good they are.
Indeed. And here we see the scoring. So basically there's always, for each match, there are 3 points on the line. It's a best of 3 format. First you start with playing moving, no move, and then an NPC. But the player who wins the second games first gets 3 points in a 2-0 fashion. However, if you manage to get 1 game off your opponent, you will also receive a point. That's how the scoring works.
Yeah, and here you can see the scoring on the table right now. We see RC, MK, Blinky, and Consus, kind of being the breakaway group, the top 4 there. But as you can see, a lot of top level players are playing today, such as Zigzag, Finnbar, Lenley, Harrier, Consus, and many more. And yeah, definitely some good matchups today.
Yeah, you have mentioned the Rainbow tournament yesterday. There was a sponsored tournament by JetBlue on Rainbow channel, and RC won that one as well. So no surprise we see him at the top here. Really no surprise. And besides that, is there really anything surprising? We have, especially in the last 2 weeks, last 2 weeks, we had a lot of switch ups in the middle span, I would say, of the leaderboard. But the top 10 still looks kind of similar.
Yeah, the only person is missing for you is Trista, because you did predict him to climb up the ranks today. Difficult task at hand, because he is playing Zigzag in his first game today. So not the easiest opponent to go up, and there we go. We will be looking at that match actually. But I mean, Gelotris, it's probably the easiest question for you to answer, because what is the best matchup today? Tell us. Yeah. And tell the backstory behind it. Set the stage, really.
That is pretty easy to say. Yeah, it is definitely Lenley, Zigzag. There's way more behind that than just the competition. They are very close friends. I've met them both. Zigzag was visiting us here in Germany. We met up years ago and we have been friends for years. And especially also Lenley and Zigzag are very, very good friends. So see them competing here is gonna be fun.
Yeah, and especially because both of them are doing very well. You know, Zigzag in 7th place and Lenley in 11th. But the difference between those two are only 4 points. So Lenley can almost get up to Zigzag level here if he wins that game. But, I mean, also the Zigzag Trista game is also a game I would like to see. And also V89 Leero. So we are definitely blessed today. And that's only like the first 3 games really we're looking at. So yeah, we're definitely eating good today. But
indeed, yeah, we get V89 back. He had a break last week, a deserved break, because the week before he had 3 games in one day. He managed to get a 2-0, one with a 2-1, and he lost one. So really had everything there. Let's see if those 2 weeks off, paid off with him practicing, and let's see if he will show us what he got.
Yeah, will definitely be interesting to see. And also, you know, if your boy Trista can, you know, withstand the pressure you put on him now, because now he's on the spot, because you said he's too low. I mean, he was like 28th place. Now he's already up to like 23rd. So already gained 5 positions. But, you know, now he's playing 7th place Zigzag. But, you know, I feel like also they definitely were friends for a long time. I mean, Trista also in the community forever, pretty much. So also will be very interesting to see, because if that game goes to NMPZ, I would be hyped, for sure.
I do agree. Another matchup of good friends, of old friends. But yeah, you already said it. Zigzag isn't an easy opponent by any means, but I don't think there's any easy opponent in this league, Zigzag. Ziggy. Speaking of Zigzag,
I mean, not the first time somebody called me Zigzag. I mean, because his nickname technically is Ziggy, but with a Y. So if you type Ziggy with a Y in chat, that is not me. That is Zigzag technically. I also get DMs on Twitter asking me, "Yo, Zigzag, I love your videos." I mean, thank you very much. I don't upload videos myself, but I always appreciate the, you know, support.
Classic.
So thank you very much.
I think it's actually the first time I've mixed you two up. Sorry for that. Had to happen at some point.
Happens. But let's get into the first matchup. We just mentioned V89 from Finland versus Leero from Australia. Let's take a quick look at the stats. I feel like Leero stats will be a bit better, but you know, let's see, 46% win rate on V89 side. Average guess time 22 seconds. I mean, 22 seconds. Come on.
Yes, that's a very quick guess time. I think the average is around 30 seconds. Some have a couple more, some have a couple less. So I would say nothing too surprising here on these stats. Pretty average, but a pretty high win rate, I would say. 56% win rate is pretty high up there. But besides that, yeah, the 22 seconds really stand out here for V89. So if you can use that quick guessing, that pressure on Leero, it could be an advantage. But as I said earlier, you give your opponent 15 extra more seconds by guessing first. And especially in a moving game, that can turn bad for you in some cases.
That can go a long way. And we see, you know, Leero a bit further down, but it's only because he has only 16 matches played. And, you know, V89 has 6 more games played and is only 6 points ahead. So Leero can definitely still pass him.
But definitely not a game where you can make an easy prediction. V89 versus Leero. Quite a tough matchup for either of those. And we are getting the game ready right now.
Yeah, seems like the next slide, you know, was not the right one. So they definitely need to find that game. Don't want to miss that, to be fair. So we'll be getting that one ready and get on track real soon.
Definitely. I mean, we have had that in the past with the Australians, living a bit further away from the servers.
A bit,
so
you know.
Sometimes you can have those connection issues.
Or your Ocean Man, where you have the power to crash every single game you play in.
Oh, I remember that one.
Also,
I don't know. Was that really coincidence? Was it Ocean Man just hacking and DDoSing their opponents? We will never know. But I can hear the sound of the game starting and we jump over right to it.
And we didn't miss a thing, and we spawn in our country. I mean,
we do indeed.
This does look like Germany. And actually Leero insta-guessing. Or both, kinda.
Yeah,
That's very
Germany
interesting.
is the type of country where on moving, I think it's not the right country to insta-send. You have actually a lot of information all around. But on no move, it's a different story. Germany can be pretty hard to reach and guess.
Yeah, very interesting to see that V89, you know, he has the extra 15 seconds and, you know, technically nothing can happen in a time where he can move around, so it's no disadvantage. So very interesting. Maybe he just wants to play fast and don't spend any time. As we see both players taking their time on Mexico, because they're definitely both trying, you know, to find the state abbreviations or maybe a phone code. Both very helpful.
Yeah, definitely not only depending on the country, but also on your spawn. Like this time we are in a city, we have a lot of information given, whereas in Germany we were just on a random rural road with no info anywhere nearby. So that will always affect your playstyle on the round.
Yeah, and I was about to say...
had Morelos on the sign there. B89 clicking. Somewhat in the north of it, was a bit further south.
Yeah, I was about to say both people just hedging CDMX, but it's not a hedge if it's correct.
That is right.
As
we
see
are
them.
in Japan here. We have a long plate for some reason.
But we did have a yellow arrow, so that will put us in Chugoku.
That is
And
right.
Yeah, the pace
Interesting
is quite high.
location there. I thought we would be in the mountains.
Yeah,
but
some
we are
coastal
right on the
mountains there.
coast. Yep. Always hard to get those right or guess them right.
Okay, I
So
mean
we go
both
over to
very famous
this,
roads.
Yep, road. As you already can tell from the camera quality, it's a pretty old footage of the road. And usually on old footage, you assume the players will know by now where it is. It is in Yukon, the road to the Western Territories.
Yep.
And region guessing it can be tough sometimes. It's a pretty long road.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, it's like, what, like 1,000 kilometers from the start, so knowing, you know, what part of the road looks like what is definitely a good thing to do. And now, you know, we're entering the multi, so insta-sending is very risky, because on 3x multipliers, everything can really happen. As we go into Australia.
Indeed, and especially for Leero, this could maybe be handy because he is from Australia.
We have a Mount Isa lock-in by V89. Very interesting to see. Leero doesn't seem to find anything else.
Gives some Queensland vibes, and Leero also ending up there. We have those random hills here and there. It's one city over, however, that city is 100 kilometers away.
Yeah, just a quick drive, you know, on a windy road through the Queensland outback. Very interesting how they both ended up in the same town when there was no information given, but that just really shows how they're on a very high level and also very like-minded.
Yeah, I feel like in Queensland, the closer you get to the coastal areas, the more mountains you have, whereas inland, there aren't too many cities covered. And if you have those random hills around and flatness, besides that, Mount Isa is always a good click. And we are back in Japan. We have a Shikoku blade there.
Oh, Leero barely any time to really get a guess in, but he is space blocking the right end of Shikoku there. And how close is this game, by the way? We had 6 rounds played, and these guys have not lost 1,000 health combined, so...
yeah, not much happened so far. Let's enter this round. It's saying city of something. I can read it in time.
There's also a water tower, which usually has the town name in North America, and I would love for one of the players to look at the water tank, but or the water tower.
Yeah, they probably already saw it. For us, the panning can be a bit delayed sometimes. But I had that vibe as well, like that Minnesota or Dakota's area.
We did have a North Dakota plate with the blue on top, so I think V89 should be in the right state, and also Leero.
Yep,
and
he did guess inside a city. They both are in southeast there, but B89 in the right city with the 5k. The first one today blessing us with the animation.
Blessing us. You know, that town was probably so small that, you know, just clicking in it will give you the 5k.
Probably.
And now we just spawn in a urban South Africa. How do you region guess urban South Africa?
Yeah, that's a very good question, especially with those green mountains that you get all along the coast. The further north you go, the drier it gets, as a rule of thumb. But those mountainous greens can also be surrounded around Lesotho. But this feels a bit more coastal to me. So basically these players try to find the place name now because the coastline in South Africa is pretty long.
Yeah, at first when we spawned in I thought we saw like West Cape Pole, but it doesn't seem to be there. And Leero found a sign here which could be very big, and he is looking for the place that it says.
He's scanning around. Doesn't seem to find it. Made a switch there. I think he's getting there. Maybe he has the road number, but B89 also not too far away, given that he didn't have that sign. But it was an important one, bringing B89 to half HP there.
Yeah, and there's only 2 rounds left to play. Leero leading here with 1000 points, but that lead is an illusion because we are on 5x multiplier and 5.5x on the final one. So nothing set in stone yet. And wow, like insta-guess on 5x
that
multiplier.
That is interesting because we are in Argentina. We have that plate with the black dot, which you only see in Argentina. And it was further south there. Yeah, I didn't know if he tried to get the pressure on or if he had anything, because urban Argentina can be really, really hard to region guess unless you have a grid that you learned. Because a lot of cities in Argentina have a grid you can use to rule out or rule in.
Wait, and I know this town. This is Obergurgel. I always go skiing here. This is yeah, this is the Hotel Hochfest in Obergurgel. It's like south of Sölden. It's like southwest of Innsbruck, and B89 is pretty close, but it's a bit further away.
Further north, but interesting. We got a place where you have been.
Yeah, it says Tirol on the truck as well, but I've been here like 2 months ago. No, 1 month ago even. Yeah, south of Sölden.
Yep, there it is. Cheeky 5k from Ziggy. But yeah, not really any room for B89 to turn around the game here. And Leero securing that game really came down to the South Africa round, because besides that, it was a very, very even game.
Yeah, and he also had, had that click in Argentina. Technically he gained 2.5k points on it, but the difference in their guesses was minimal. I don't think anyone really had a good hunch there.
Correct, as we go over to the no-move mode here. Leero in the lead for now, but nothing over for B89. We are in Oman, somewhere on these deserty roads. Leero looking for a lineup there, but B89 also has one already.
Okay, for a second,
end up on the same place.
Big 1 point here for Leero. That's definitely going to set the stage here. I thought for a second somebody 5k'd that location, and I was about to jump out my seat, but
it's always when both players end up in the same exact location and you don't see the other guess, you always assume it's under the pin.
And this seems like a very famous road/bridge. Both of them scanning, and
are in Botswana with hills. That's a very good clue to be either very far south or very far north. But with how green it is, I could see this being north, especially because the border has a river there between Namibia and Botswana. There is a river going along the borderline, so let's see, we have a line up there from B89. He is on a bridge. Not
will it be the correct one though?
Not on the border, but still pretty far north.
And it is just downtown Maun.
Maun, yeah. I didn't realize he switched up that far south. I thought he's still in the north. I mean, Maun is still pretty far north in Botswana. But interesting, because Maun is usually very recognizable, very sandy with palm trees and all that.
Yeah, but also we had a lot of cars, so it definitely had to be like in an urban environment. And, you know, Maun is kind of split in two halves where the river just runs through the middle. So, could definitely pick up on that.
Definitely.
Pretty standard Norway here. I don't think much to say. I feel like both will end up somewhat south or west.
Yep. It is very hilly. Hilly urban is usually more western, but B89 getting a very close plonk down. I don't know if that was a hedge or if he had a vibe for that region. But nonetheless,
he knows.
very important round, yeah.
If he knows, he knows. I've heard of the city before. Don't ask me where it is. We are on the coast though, so definitely very scannable.
Chile.
True.
First of all.
First of all, let's start in the country. We are in Chile. And
yep, we have the car, the looks, really.
And Vietnam found the town, so this could be very big points here for him because it is way further north than Leero is. He is in Puerto Montt, and I think he is north of Concepcion, so...
Still looking around there. Yeah, B89 had a very good vibe on this round. Again, he zoomed in right where he thought it could be and found those town names.
And that will definitely be enough to close out the game. Technically not a flawless, you know. Leero got that one single point on the Oman round where they were right on each other. But, you know, V89 striking back, and now we go into the NMPZ mode, which, you know, I think is the preferred mode of both players. So maybe both of them will be happy, but only one of them can win at the end of the day. So who do you predict to win this, or is it not predictable?
Yeah, I mean, that game was very, very strong from B89. If he keeps that momentum, it's gonna look bad for Leero. But Leero also known to turn around games in his favor. And we are in a very urban environment here. The houses look like South Africa. You know, with those gates all around the buildings. Security.
Gotta protect your home.
With a standard hedge there.
I mean, I got the right coast, but that coast is very long.
Yep. We are back to the coastal talks of South Africa. It can be very hard.
And speaking of hard, I mean...
Yeah, I mean... Urban Russia, I assume?
Why does this almost look like the round in Irkutsk we had?
I remember
in another
that one.
Stream, but I think that's just because a pipe was there as well.
Yeah, it could be the pipe. There was a pretty big pipe on that as well. We have some rainy coverage, could also maybe tell you the season and some regions of the country. It looks like spring. We have those lush greens, but yeah, besides that, it's a very hard to region guess. I would say this is pretty much the standard click you do if you don't have a strong eastern vibe.
Yeah, just standard west, just like Kazan. Very fun north there, actually. I did not expect that.
Nope,
did
not at all.
Much vegetation.
It looked very lush and green. As we go over to this round, we are in Japan. However, we don't have a transformer on this pole, which you usually need to make a region guess in Japan. They both end up in the north. I mean, we have some transformers in the back. I can't really tell. They both end up going north, but V89 really committing far enough to make a difference in points here.
Yeah, Japan can be very deceiving. You know, it is a flat area, so you definitely consider like around Tokyo because that is very flat. But also the northern part can have some flat areas, and even Hokkaido.
Correct. And another country that isn't really too easy to region guess, South Korea. They do the standard middle southeast-ish click to move over to the next round. As we go over to this round.
It seems like we're back in Russia. And it looks like autumn, winterish coverage. So, you know, what do players consider here? Could this be Kaliningrad? Could this be Bryansk? Could this be, what is it called? Belgorod? Or maybe even east? Okay, Leero is very far away from V89 now.
Yeah, most of this fall coverage is in a circle south of Moscow. So that's covered by V89.
And he is right on it. And that will be more than enough to close out this game.
Indeed, yeah. A lot of points are gained in Russia per usual. But
as always.
B89 did indeed play very, very, very strong in this match. It's a very well deserved win.
And there's always the moving curse
for Leero to do there. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah, not much Leero can do. They both played very well, but would say B89 didn't do any mistakes at all. Played as good as you can on these locations that we had given. And that's where we move over to the next game.
Yeah, the next game, I mean, we can talk a bit about it before we go into it. I mean, it is Zigzag versus Trista. I mean, Zigzag, always a crowd favorite, it has to be said, but Trista cannot be underestimated. Always good for, you know, just a surprise appearance, you know, just coming in, just beating a top-level player, why not? So we're definitely interested to see that game. If you had to predict a winner in a moving game, who would you take?
In a moving game, yeah, I feel like I have to give that one to Trista because I know Zigzag doesn't really like moving at all. What doesn't mean that he is bad at it, because he did practice it, especially before the World Cup. He was grinding a lot of moving because that is very much needed in this format where you start off with a moving game.
True.
We have the stats here. We see a 44-second average guess time on Trista, which is probably the longest.
Yeah, him and Spaghetti are probably battling it out.
Yeah.
Or maybe in Finnbar as well. They definitely like to take their time. But it doesn't mean they never insta-guess.
I feel like that's a major difference in this matchup. Zigzag is a very fast-paced player. You can tell that from the amount of games he has played. We can fact-check that one real quick. Let's see. Actually give some real numbers. Let me go on Zigzag's profile, and we are currently on 55,535 played games. And you don't get this amount by playing slow. He's definitely someone who likes to spam games, which will give you good vibes. I feel like that's how you build up good vibes and good instincts on the rounds. Whereas Trista is someone... I don't feel like Trista is someone who really likes that playstyle. He really dives more deep into every round, tries to gain every information he has, and make a guess based on that.
Yeah, and also I would say that Trista is not the guy to, you know, play a lot of solo games. I feel like he prefers to just, you know, use the map making app. Shout out to Rihanna for making that one possible. Also just a very good tool to become better at the game. Some top level players spend more time in that than really playing the game. Somebody like RC and Consus, I know that they are spending tons of time in that app, more than really playing the game.
Yep. Very deserved shout out to Rihanna. I can count myself in. Definitely spending more time on the map maker than with playing GeoGuessr. And we are in Indonesia. We have some good information here.
Yeah, it does say Kabupaten Bone, and he's right on it. It's a bit further... Wait. Bone Balongo? Okay.
It's Bone Balongo, yeah. That's another one. There's two Bones in Sula.
Yep.
One is where Zigzag clicked. I think a bit further north.
Yeah, a bit further north. That's what I meant. I thought it just said Bone, but...
Yeah, but Bone Balongo is in the north indeed. And we are in Turkey. And we have a trash bin right there. Is it readable?
Oh. Asanya? Something like that.
Say Isanya?
Asanya, something like that.
Sure.
Bro's Googling real quick.
It looks central.
Quick Google there by Gelotra, shout out.
It's always hard to make a guess when they play moving.
Yeah.
Because they usually don't look at the things that I would like to look to, but it looks central western. Like central in general. Isanya rings a bell though.
It's
the central and west.
Famous town there.
Let me open up the chat guesser map real quick. Because some towns don't show up. Oh, it's pretty small, yeah, no. It's a very small label, so no shame on them for not finding it.
And another Kabupaten name, but a very distinct roof as well, so you could definitely get it without looking at this sign. But Trista trying to find a better look on it. I can't read what it says.
Ship. How do you call the shape even of this roof? I mean, it is not in West Sumatra with those spiky.
It's like a half moon,
to
pretty
the
much.
Sides. Yeah, almost like a ship or something. I don't know, but you see it a lot in West Sumatra. Good architectural clue to get that region of Indonesia.
And Trista is on the flawless right now. I mean, it's only 3 rounds played, but setting the tone maybe a bit as we go into maybe a country where both players are not very familiar with how to use information, unless Trista just zooms in very fast. Almost got me there.
Here we have the longer insulators, which you see more on the southern span of Thailand. But you, Ziggy, as someone who did a little bit more research on Thailand than I did.
Well, you know, I only know Khan copyright.
Would know that.
I don't see copyright, so what am I supposed to do here, really?
True. But would you look at that?
Well, that is a guess and a half, if you ask me. That's one way to gain
Definitely.
1.3k points on the southern part of Thailand.
Yeah, very good region guess there from Zigzag. Just 11 kilometers off. As we go over to his home territory, we are in Australia. We have some yellow signposts, which you see more in Western Australia. We also have a railway along the road. If you know your railways in Western Australia, that can be a good clue.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. But we also have a lot of information on those signs. I don't know if these are helpful enough.
No, I can't really tell what's helpful and what's not in Western Australia. I don't think I know a lot of towns there.
Yep,
Just,
I
you know,
agree.
very recognizable place, so...
They are definitely helpful, but maybe not for us. But for Trista it is. Just outside Bunbury. Catching up some
Bunbury?
good points. Given the fact that they are both in the same region of Western Australia. Some really good points for Trista there. Getting the lead in this match on round 6 now. As we have some piranha pines along the road.
A lot of
Those
piranhas.
trees are mostly in the Parana state. In Brazil, you can also see them a bit further north, a bit further south. As we have Zigzag
called
going
Lagos.
very far east.
Don't think this is Nigeria, though,
No?
unfortunately.
No?
But definitely something you can scan for. Like, there was a marker, but it sadly only said Sul, which means south. And there's a town called Lages, and
Oh,
he
it's
found it.
saying
It's south,
Lages.
it's south of... Oh, but he goes very far away from it. It was further south. But definitely in Santa Catarina.
See, I can't really tell how far Zigzag is from
He is...
Trista's guess. He's switching
Ooh.
around still.
I think he got very close
Unsure.
now. Pretty good switch.
Yeah. That was an important switch to reduce the damage. As Trista is getting very close again. And we go over to round 7 now. In Italy, we have those Italian bollards.
And I'm
Which
getting...
you also see in Albania, but given the looks, this should be Italy.
And I'm getting Sardinia vibes here, or... Maybe just or actually, maybe I'm just getting southern boot vibes. Zigzag
be
going
this-
very far north here.
This green, we have a road marker there. But that only really helps if you already have a region down. They both end up going a bit further south. Trista still switching around, but getting there in the end.
What a guess.
Playing very strong right now, especially with his last 3 guesses. Getting very, very close all the time.
Getting that
Nothing.
close with no information, Italy.
Yep,
Very good
definitely strong.
vibe guess there. It does say wow, wow, wow.
Are going over to around in Portugal, I would say, with this
It says Coimbra.
pavement.
And an insta guess,
But
but
saying Coimbra, I would trust that one. They both have the same sign. They both end up in Coimbra. Nothing Zigzag likes to see. That's only a stall. That's only ramping up the multiplier and getting us closer to the final round. But we still have 2 rounds to play. Zigzag is hoping for bigger countries where he can turn this game around, whereas Trista is hoping for the small countries.
and he is getting a small country. I think this is Albania. We do have the black sign back. Long antenna. I imagine it to be rifts in the sky. I just, I can sense them.
You can sense them. You also see it a bit in the front.
True.
There's this slight stitching error on it. And we also have those Albanian water tanks. Albania actually has a lot of good clues.
Yeah, definitely.
To also get it without the rifts. And they both are somewhat on the right road.
I mean,
Zigzag chose to not click on it.
And he gets rewarded for it. Think about that one.
But he's closer. It's all about getting geographically closer in this game.
Ooh, last round for Zigzag, and we are in Bavaria, it seems. Or somewhere just very south. Could be over the border in Baden-Württemberg.
Very hilly.
Yeah, Allgäu, I quite
Trista
like.
is going very far south. I don't know if the mountains are big enough. Could be.
Ooh, it is the Allgäu.
Yeah, it is right there.
Not gonna be enough.
And that is the game. We are reaching the final round in Trista. Secures this win. Played very well.
As you predicted.
Nothing you can do there. Yep. The moving game, especially something that suits more for Trista, but I'm sure Zigzag is locking in now as we go to no move. She definitely prefers more to play. And we start off in India. Probably something you like to see on round 1.
Yeah.
Rather than on high multis, because it can be very hard and sometimes very random reading this.
I mean, just the amount of different cars you can see in India is insane. I mean, this looks like a very distinct car with like a tape on it in the front. I have never seen it in my life.
No,
So
there's like a butterfly on it, I think.
yeah, something like that.
I've heard of it. I feel like I've heard of a butterfly on the car in India, but I also feel like it's in more places.
Well, you know, after this round, it will become a meta.
After seeing where this is, I'm always clicking there when I see that butterfly on a car.
I mean, this seems very unique, so I will definitely remember this.
But as you already said, in countries where you have a lot of car metas or different cars covering, it's getting to a point where it's not even worth learning because it's just too many.
And it's just expanding every day. India is getting a lot of updates even now.
We are still hoping for the better camera quality.
And we are just not getting blessed by the camera quality today.
Nope. Still back to 360p here.
Yeah, we're in
As
Windows
we are in
XP.
Nigeria. Kano click from Zigzag makes sense. Trista also right around there. It's a pretty good hedge if
Yeah.
you have some dry, hilly coverage with that camera quality.
You know, I have a question now. Were people in chat, you know, the person to have Windows XP or Windows Vista? I feel like that's like kind of the divide. Let me know. But let's focus on this round.
No one really used Vista.
I think my mom used.
It's like the one that just pretty much got skipped.
I mean, I did not hear anything good about it. As we see both players moving into Wyoming. Beautiful state.
Definitely.
Big ups, Wyoming.
Makes sense. We have a very wide gravel road with those mountain ridges. Winter coverage also fits. It's looking very cold. Cold and sunny at the same time. It's also something you see a lot in Wyoming. A lot of sunny coverage in the winter.
No, could also be technically Nevada or something, but with the soil, I definitely like Wyoming more. Definitely seems like Wyoming, Montana.
Yep,
is
definitely
good
both
shot.
possibilities.
Okay.
Look at that. Trista is pretty much on the road.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be like a middle click because he did consider going a bit more south and he went for it and it paid off.
He was looking around there. I mean, both players really. Shout out to both of them for getting Wyoming. As we stay in the US.
And I see the chat now. It's a bit on a delay, but I see more people on XP. I mean, that was expected. And somebody said, what is Ziggy saying? No, just making a bit of conversation. Where
maybe they are too young to know what Windows XP and Windows Vista is.
That might be the case, but okay, you have to shout a state here. What state would you shout?
Idaho? Maybe?
Okay, Idaho. I can see that.
We have, yeah, the season fits, mountainous green.
You know what? I will support your Idaho guess. Just so we stand in union.
Yeah, it's also looking a bit dry, so maybe a bit further west. Something I also considered was Colorado.
Ooh, we have
You have
Cali guess. Big difference now.
What?
And it is Cali. Is that enough to close out the game? Not quite there.
Not really, but getting a very good lead with a very impressive guess. Not the easiest California there by any means.
And now Zigzag is really on the back foot here. He is down 0-1 already, and now he's down to 700 HP. And we are back in the US, it seems. I don't know if he will be happy to see this again, or sad. Really depends on how this round goes, I guess.
Definitely. And yeah, looks like we have no fronts, which will put you more to the north or east. Or south.
Or south or west.
A couple of states with that. Michigan is one of them, indeed, and Zigzag is there, whereas Trista is going more south. This will definitely be game, as it is indeed in the south, and Trista is on it. Happy about that win. Getting 3 points off Zigzag, very, very important, especially in a tough matchup like this.
Yeah, and in what a fashion. I mean, that was quite dominant, I have to say. Moving game especially, he did fare well with information, without information. We saw the Italy guess in the moving game, you know, just clicking there somehow, getting 40 kilometers away and dealing like 2.5k damage. So very well played, and that no move game was also clinical. Committing Cali there was not really on my list, but the western US is kind of hard to guess with these, you know, pine forests. Not sure how to guess that, but very well played to Trista.
Yeah, I did mention it in the past already, how Trista is a type of player to do very well on very difficult rounds. I feel like he lacks a bit of consistency, not in this match, but most of the times where you have challenges with 20 pros being wrong and you see Trista on the 5k. That's a very Trista thing. So I feel like he had some guesses, especially the California round again, where probably a lot of pros maybe don't guess California, but yeah, he does and gets rewarded there.
Yeah, we also have 2 more results coming in. We do see Finnbar taking a 2-1 victory against Eamon, so it went to the NMPZ game. And we have Fennep taking a 2-1 win over Amarain, also getting his points. So, you know, Australia not faring too well today. We saw Leero losing, Zigzag losing, but Fennep brought it back and got that win for his country. And, you know, what is next up? Jalotris.
Yeah,
what
the
is that?
First 4 matches are done and we move over to the next ones. And this is the one we have all been waiting for, especially the chat with all the Zigzag and Lenley supporters, which we commonly see. I've also seen Rainbet dropping a 20 gifted bomb in the chat. Thank you, Rainbet.
Thank you very much. That's going to the prize pool, and you're in for a raffle for a goodie bag from GeoGuessr as well. Just mentioning that. But you know what the saddest thing is? We see this amazing matchup ahead, and I have to throw to a break. Sadly, we do have to give Zigzag a bit of a pause after that game, because he is playing back-to-back matches. So, you know, stay ready for this matchup. Don't go anywhere. Trust me, you don't want to miss this match. I think it will be amazing. But before that, you know, as I mentioned, quick break, and we'll be back in any second.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blinky lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup? Denmark? Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings, world-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KB Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.
And we are back from this very short break. I mean, I couldn't really evade this game, and I had to sit in that screen for 3 minutes waiting. Gelotris, are you ready? I hope the chat is ready. Let me know if you guys are ready for this one, because we're definitely witnessing a clash of something, because those two are YouTubers very big right now, especially Lenley is doing very well on YouTube. GeoGuessr in Germany is taking off, and it's very nice to see, especially, I mean, for me and you as well, being from Germany. Always nice to see, but you also have Zigzag, a legend in the community, and has been putting out content pretty much forever. I'm not sure how he has not run dry yet, but anything you want to say about that matchup? I mean, what else can you really say?
Not much. I mean, I made my first wrong prediction. I said the chat is gonna be filled with Zigzag and Lenley supporters, but I only see Cheergy Lenley, Cheergy Lenley, Cheergy Lenley. Where are the Zigzag supporters? Hello? Yeah. I mean, definitely a hype match with a big fan base. Also shout out to Basti, of course. Basti GHG, bringing Germany on the board with GeoGuessr. So thank you for that, Basti.
Yeah, I did see a lot of GHGs in chat, or 787. That's just an abbreviation. It's just, you know, replacing letters. For anyone wondering, that's not German. That's pretty much what it means. But yeah, just, you know, clearing that one up. A lot of supporters, as you said, for Lenley. You know, maybe the Zigzag supporters are more silent and they're confident in their player because he is technically above Lenley in standing right now. As we go to the stats, let's take a quick look to Lenley and Zigzag here. 59% win rate. Looking good. Average guess time on the side of Lenley.
Yeah, and these stats are very strong given the time, but I would say Zigzag is a little bit ahead, because he has a similar win rate, similar position, but he is faster with the guessing.
Yeah, just a bit faster, but as you can see, it is just neck and neck here. I mean, just a few seconds or percent between those two players. You know, and you know the question I'm gonna ask you. Moving game, Lenley, Zigzag, who's taking it?
Yeah, I made my first prediction wrong, but I would say in the moving game, I feel like Lenley also isn't really a moving player, but because Zigzag practiced so much for the World Cup with the moving stuff, he did learn area codes in the US and all that, but I feel like Lenley is also on it. So very hard to make a prediction here, but I would give it more to Zigzag on the moving game, definitely.
Okay, I will give it to Lenley actually, because I think Lenley played the competitive mode when it was only moving, so I think that will give him just the advantage he needs to take this game. But as always, we cannot predict the future, we can only predict that it is hopefully gonna be a hype game between two friends and two legends in the community, as we see the wave coming in from both players. And there they are, and a coolie mode by Zigzag, and we jump in, and we're right in the home country of Zigzag again.
Yeah, he did get a couple of Australias now, and we have a good sign on Lenley's side. He has a road number and some towns. It's pretty hard for me to read. I would have to lean to the to the microphone. I would have to lean into the monitor for that. But it seems like we are in South Australia. They are both scanning around looking for those towns. It doesn't seem like that these towns are very big, because Zigzag is from South Australia, and you would assume he knows the towns.
He didn't find the town name sign
But
yet. He just found Ricey's Creek, and that's all he looked at the entire round. So he definitely hasn't gotten to that sign.
Indeed. So maybe he will just have the right vibes here to know it is north. If he does trust his vibes to still get a good guess in, even though he didn't have the sign.
Doesn't need it.
Getting closer here. Yeah, it is his home state. Not the biggest one, especially with the coverage given. It is somewhat only down there, but nowadays I feel like South Australia got very decent amount of coverage.
Yeah, some outback roads added, but obviously they will look way different. You have Red Soul, and as we see Comunitat Valenciana, we see CV, that will definitely be near Valencia.
Yep,
and we do have two town names, Soneja and... I don't know how to pronounce that in Spanish, to be honest. The X sound is really cracking me up sometimes, especially because it's Catalan.
Yeah, I will give that one to someone else. I will not try to pronounce it, but Lenley also got to assign, giving him the abbreviation for the regional roads. both end up in Valencia. I think Zigzag did the right thing there to just instantly send his guess through after he knew it is Valencia, because Lenley found it with just a couple seconds left.
Yeah, that could have gone south very quickly. Could have been big points for Zigzag. As we see, Lenley finding a sign with Battambang, which is a pretty big city in Cambodia. Zigzag did not see that sign at spawn, and that really shows, some people, like to look around at the spawn. Maybe if the sign doesn't even look that good, but they just, take a quick look.
Definitely. We have a lot of language. And we are in the right city there with Lenley's guess.
Yeah, very quick read there and very quick guess.
Yep. First, would say relevant points in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, technically Zigzag won the first 2 rounds, but he got a whopping 64 points out of that, so a bit unlucky, but it is what it is. Then he was just right on it as well, so...
And we have... Where did Lenley... Zigzag guess?
Just outside London.
I don't know if he had any information. Usually we are in the UK. Especially trash bins are very helpful in the UK. Sometimes they will tell you the council or the city, wherever you are.
And that was just outside Luton Airport. Fun fact.
Shout out Luton. Shout out to Luton Geezer. And we are in Mexico. Someone was talking earlier in chat requesting that we explain the rounds a bit better and how we get it.
I saw that as well.
So, of course, I will go into that. We had those concrete white bollards. See a lot in Mexico, especially with the yellow lines. We are in the Americas. We had a very dry landscape, which puts you more to the north, usually. Because sometimes, well, given the season, can also affect it. We also have dry parts further south. And here we have... Okay, how do I explain that this is Chile?
Just say it looks very famous. Just say this is like that one road in Chile, because it looks like southern Chile. We have the white car, and what else looks like this?
Yeah, that's the thing with some locations. Very hard to explain, because if you've seen certain areas of the world a couple times, especially in southern Chile, there are not that many roads covered. It's like only the 7 going down there, and there are just a couple of roads from this road.
And they all look epic.
Yeah, and they will all look like this. So really hard to explain this one. It's definitely like sometimes you can't explain a location, it's just how it looks. I did hate that when I was starting off this game, when I was trying to learn and, asking some questions here and there. Hey, how did you get this? How did you get this? And the response was wipes. It just looks like it. I always felt like someone didn't want to share the information with me, but it is actually like that. It is like that.
Nowadays people just say, I wonder, so they don't have to answer.
Something you can say.
As we go into Kazakhstan,
yeah,
especially with country.
Car coverages where you have the Google car, it's always easy to say, yep, this car is in Kazakhstan. But besides that, it's also the flat landscape. We have some Soviet poles, which are usually concrete, square-shaped. We also have those black bottoms on the sign, which you see in Russia as well. But also in Kazakhstan, of course. And besides that, some stuff you can use is the season.
And Zigzag knowing the road. I mean, Kazakhstan, very learnable country. Only coverage really on the big roads and inside major cities. So definitely a country that also pays off to learn and is easy to learn. Somewhat similar to, I would say, maybe like Mongolia, Kyrgyzstan, something like that. Just a lot of car meta, a lot of knowing the seasons as well. As we go into this, we're back in Mexico.
We are indeed. This looks like Chiapas. I want to say this is very far south.
I want to say this is the border road with Belize.
Yeah, I do like the Chiapas guess from Lenley there.
I really like
it's
Chiapas
very
shadows.
lush, very jungly.
And it is the border road with Belize. put me in, coach. But that's gonna be a
And
comeback victory for
this
Lenley. Our boy is taking it for Germany and for himself.
Yeah, very
win there.
important commitment there, going Chiapas with those jungly looks. I've talked about it earlier, where you sometimes have dry coverage down there, but usually it's very lush green. A lot of palms. And we go over to the no-move game as we start off in
What do we
a
have
dirt
here?
road. We have a gravel road. We have some corn. I was thinking about France, Baltics, France,
Baltics?
Belgium.
I'm
Sorry.
in Belgium here as well.
Yeah, we have a brick building there. Yep, especially with corn. This coverage, brick buildings. Belgium does fit.
And Zigzag
Yeah.
trying to region against Belgium, not paying
Yeah,
off.
it was kind of hilly, which makes you usually think more towards the east, but these amount of hills you can have anywhere, really. And we move over to this round. We have a pickup truck. That's also... Cars are also actually pretty useful in GeoGuessr
Yes.
sometimes, because like these pickup trucks you see more in the Americas, and in Asia it's mostly only Thailand, I feel like. A little
Yeah.
bit in the Philippines as well.
If you see a Toyota pickup truck, a white
yeah.
Toyota pickup truck, go Thailand. Trust me.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't trust me, actually.
If you don't have anything else to work with, it's a good clue. But usually in the Americas, especially in Mexico, you see it a lot, those pickup trucks. And we also have those white water tanks on the roofs, which you can also get in Argentina, I think in Peru sometimes.
Yeah.
But Mexico also up there. As a region guess, this is somewhere in the middle, I would say.
Yeah. Both kind of very close to
Doesn't look
CMX
far
here.
south, doesn't look far north. And it is actually pretty, I would say it's decently far north.
That is pretty far north.
Sinaloa. Didn't really pick up the vibes, but neither did them.
I think it's one
Hey.
of the hardest areas to get. Those western coast locations in Sinaloa, in Nayarit, they can be very tricky to get.
Yeah.
Especially if you're more inland, then they don't really look coastal anymore, so you don't really consider it.
Yeah, there was probably something, but you know, Mexico is a very diverse country with a lot of clues you can learn. Makes it difficult if you aren't grinding it too hard. So go over to this round. We have the car front there. It's a white Google car. The Philippines do make sense with the amount of palm trees and
We have a
road.
concrete road as well.
Yep.
On the
The
one
road.
side.
Looks concrete, which will also put you in the Philippines or Thailand, usually in Asia, unless you are in Kalimantan or Sumatra, where you also get a lot of concrete roads.
Yeah, both are going south here.
Very far south, yeah. I feel like they both picked up that it might be very far south, but didn't want to commit, maybe?
It's a very tough commit, especially in your back of your mind. You have like, okay, if somebody just clicks the middle of Philippines and it's somehow north, I lose a lot of points. And why are we back in South Australia again?
That is a good question. We are indeed, with the clue of the pole, we have a Stobie pole. It's a mixture of metal and concrete, which is almost specific to South Australia. Now you have to work out your terrain. Maybe if you see the Adelaide Hills, you know on which side of Adelaide you are. But
Yeah.
here we have them more to the north.
Yeah, I think those
Just
are like the random
interesting,
mountains you get
so-
north of Adelaide.
Yeah, the further north you go, you also get a little bit of elevation. And it is indeed right outside Port Wakefield.
Obviously.
Didn't look too coastal. It looked like we would be more inland.
Well, at least Zigzag is winning the rounds that are in his home state.
True.
2 out of 2.
That always feels good. We are in South Korea.
Quick
Again,
guesses.
you will never see the players look around too much in South Korea. They usually just plunk it down. It all looks the same, more or less. as we move over to this round. We are driving on the left. Interesting that we see the Google car with a blur like this.
Yeah, you can get it very unregularly in the EU. Definitely happens in a lot of countries, but you can see the chevrons here are black and white, so that will put us in the UK over Ireland. Ireland uses other ones. I'm not sure the color right now.
Also, the fence is doesn't have rounded edges.
True.
Which will also put you more towards Northern Ireland or Ireland. It's always these little clues you combine to confirm a guess.
Yeah, I also think seeing a double line in Ireland is not possible. At least I've never seen it.
Yeah, I am not 100% certain as well, but I feel like it's more of a UK thing.
And we do see a sign saying Assam at the end, and it says a town name before that. Very hard to read for us. For them, might be possible, but it looks like it says Karbi Angolong or something like that.
Yeah, that could be a city. They are both in Assam. I must say the shape of Assam, the province shape, doesn't make it too easy to get a guess down. Because it is very narrow and long. You can pick up or lose a lot of points here, even though you are in the right province.
Did Zigzag find it? I mean, there's one of the names starts with a D, and he isn't in a town with D.
Yeah, it's Dika, Deepa. Yeah, it could have been. Could have been.
Definitely read something
And
there.
as I said, that's 2.2k, even though they are both in the right province.
It could have been even worse. I think the state is even longer than that if you go on the wrong end. And it seems like we're staying in India, although this looks like Gujarat or maybe Rajasthan, just by how deserty and barren it looks.
Yes, I agree. You could get closer clicking Pakistan here, in depending on where your opponent's guessing, but it seems like they both end up getting that region down.
I mean, Pakistan would have been pretty
Whereas
close.
It could have been. It could have gotten closer. Probably.
Double India
We
back to
are
back.
getting closer to the final round. We are in round 9 of 10.
Oh my. And we are back in Australia.
And we get an Australia round again. We have the bollard right there, the Australian bollard giving us the country here. Also a lot of eucalyptus trees. Where do you see them in Europe actually? You get them in Portugal a lot,
Galicia.
a little bit in Spain, Italy. Like those are the regions where you get them the most. But
You also get it a lot in South America these days. A lot in Argentina, Chile.
Sure.
And we just see outside Sydney guests here.
Yeah, Lenley is south of Canberra. Going
Oh,
north of
moving.
it, closer to Sydney. Very good switch. Very important switch, because if he wouldn't have switched there,
That would be
might-
game.
it could have
Would be
been game. It could have been game, definitely. He was pretty far south of
And we see
Canberra.
Zigzag. Oh!
Oh, what is he implying with
Oh,
that?
and this just looks like a Maharashtra hill. We're back in India. We have the boxcar. You can see right here. You find it in India, and especially in the western part. This is usually like 2023 coverage. See it a lot in the west. And with a hill like this, I insta-guess Maharashtra, northern Maharashtra. But that's
Yeah,
just
it
me.
looks very dry. No, I do agree with the Maharashtra shout.
It could be
Gujarat
Rajasthan.
is
It could be
also...
Rajasthan.
Yep, it's possible. It's especially if you only see one hill, that can be pretty much everywhere around there. But if you go by chances, it might be a bit further north. Now, Lenley is in Maharashtra, pretty far south of it.
Pretty far south, yeah. I kind of like northern
could-
Maharashtra more.
He could easily turn the game here.
Oh, big switches.
Especially, we have a Gujarat guess, even though we don't have holy poles. But it is Rajasthan. Still getting closer there. Closing out the game. Securing the win. And
that-
we move over to NMPZ.
I mean, who could have scripted this better than this game going to an NMPZ banger? And now, you kind of have to say Zigzag probably takes the upper hand here. But in NMPZ, anything is really possible, especially at this level. And we see a crying emote by Lenley going out, maybe, foreshadowing, maybe? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we have already mentioned it. They know each other very well. They are good friends, and therefore you know how strong your opponent is on an NPC from Lenley side.
And it seems like we have an Idaho plate with the red on top and blue at the bottom. And we see a lock in by Lenley in Idaho.
Yep, that makes sense. In Spokane, going over to Montana though.
They're both in the same city right now. Interesting. They know something.
You know something we don't. But the head explosion going through. IRL emoting there.
Crazy IRL emote.
As we go over to round 2 on this NPC matchup, Lenley versus Zigzag. We have La Pampa grass.
This looks like...
but it's not La Pampa.
I can't tell if this is Argentina or RGDS.
Yes, I'm also between those two. I feel like Argentina is the default guess.
Yes.
But it could definitely be RGDS in Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul, the furthest southern state in Brazil, which can also kind of look like this. And Zigzag is pretty much securing every possibilities with the Entre Rios guess, but it is very close.
And what a guess by Lenley.
La Pampa, actually.
Close.
Just east of General Pico there.
Well, big points coming in the first 2 rounds, but now the multipliers are on, and an NPC they can hurt even more than usual. As we went to a pretty easy round, we have the wobbly wooden pole in the distance. Just Bolivia, it's green, so you go Santa Cruz. The rest is pretty barren and not green.
Yeah, pretty much the only city with flat green landscapes is Santa Cruz, especially with the wiggly pole, which I assume they both used to get the country.
Cling.
Cling.
Cling, cling. 0 points on that round, and Lenley still on the flawless. And
we are in Australia. Who would have thought? We get another Australia.
Shout out Game
here.
Masters for, hey, don't make it too obvious that we're picking locations for Zigzag here. So if Lenley wins this game, I mean, he's really fighting the odds here. We see the crying emote going out. Actually, I don't know what this is. This seems like Queensland.
This looks like Queensland to me, yeah.
And we have a Wa. It could be Wa.
I could see that road as well.
It's hard to see the vegetation here, but Lenley is not sure.
There are 3 regions within Australia I could see with this, and they are very far away from each other.
Big switch.
They both end up going east and west in the country.
And Lenley takes
and it is the Western Road.
On Australia,
Lenley
out of all countries.
On it. Putting the glasses on. Putting the hat on.
Whew.
I mean, the stare.
I think after this game, it's pretty deserved to emote like that. I mean, 4 Australia rounds against Zigzag, and then the final round at NPZ, taking the right state. Zigzag also considering Wa there, but not committing there, going Queensland in the end, as I mentioned, also possibility, but damn, shoutouts to Lenley on that one. Definitely a great game, and I mean, what an ending. It ends on Australia, but not for the Australian.
That is right. Yeah, definitely. As I said, there are 3 regions you consider with that landscape. We had Zigzag hovering over it, not committing there. So yeah, shout out to Lenley for committing and securing the win here.
Yeah. What a game we just witnessed. I mean, there was a lot at stake. I feel like just the communities behind these 2 players was amazing. But, you know, no time to waste. We have another game at hand. I think it already started. It's Shiina versus Finnbar, and we are in a moving game, and we start off in New Zealand.
I love the quick switch up to this game, because that just means we didn't miss anything. We are in round 1 of the moving game, Shiina versus Finnbar. Now we see the first points going down on Shiina's side. Finnbar getting a bit closer there. As we move on to round 2 in Israel.
Yeah, looks like
we have the Hebrew language, the landscape does fit. We have the black Google car with antenna. Couple clues to get the country here.
Pretty sizable
Dry
hill here.
Hills, yeah, it's hilly, dry, which makes you think more towards inland.
Yeah, usually more east.
Around Jerusalem, you see it a lot. North of it, south of it. And if you have very high mountains, you're probably far south.
Yeah, they're a bit more rocky in the far south, so
Yeah.
I feel like it shouldn't be max south here, just somewhere in the middle, really. We did have like I feel like it was a moschee there, so could be in the West Bank region.
Yep, a mosque.
Mosque, sorry.
Okay.
German
I mean, we
moment.
have a lot of German.
It did say it.
Germans in
It did say it in the Latin script of that, so I just assumed that would be the English word as well. But yeah, it's obviously mosque. Sorry.
Very good. I'm always here for a quick translation.
Hey, that's why I got you by my side, always there to correct me when I'm wrong, which does tend to happen sometimes.
Does tend to happen.
Does tend to happen,
I can't
yeah.
say you never backed me up on my side when I was wrong.
Hey, we're all human after all.
We do complete us very good here.
We're all flawed to a certain degree.
That is.
Didn't want to
right.
get that deep, but I don't know what this round is, so I'm just, hoping for you to tell me where this is.
Yeah, just stalling it, so we will find out in 13 seconds. But yeah, we should be in the US. We had those bollards along the road. Because you could mix this one up with some stuff like Mexico, whereas in Mexico you wouldn't get those metal bollards along the road.
And that's a massive mistake by Fennep going Texas on. I mean, it's just on the tri-point border there. I can't really make out on what side it was.
Yes,
But
somewhere
good guess
east
by
of Las
Shiina.
Vegas. I don't know if you are still in Nevada there or on the other side, but doesn't matter too much. Shiina getting it right.
This is like a famous road in Tasmania.
Yeah, it is more hilly, dry. Is it really dry? I mean, how do you explain? It almost looks volcanic, the soil in Tasmania. It's like this brownish soil you get a lot in Tasmania.
I have an
to get
expert tip.
Also
if it looks
these
like New Zealand,
dead
it's
trees.
Tasmania.
Yeah. Yeah, I always try to explain it in a way that chat can pick up on some clues, but yeah, it just looks like it, honestly.
It is what it is. As Fennep takes a quick sip from his pretty big mug, I have to say. But he is on the back foot here, down 3.5k points. But nothing is impossible, especially if you are a capable moving player, as he is.
That is true, and we are in Canada here.
And you're a Canada expert, right?
That is right, we are in Saskatchewan here. No, we
how
aren't.
does one know this is Saskatchewan or not?
Well, I thought I saw a white signpost, but it might have just looked like it, because I did not think of Saskatchewan here originally. Still could be.
We have a front
No,
plate.
we have a front plate.
So
it's
should be Manny.
Manny.
Manitoba. Also known as Manitoba, yeah.
Yeah, for the chat, Alberta and Saskatchewan both don't have front plates. So if you see a couple cars, you can confirm it maybe and rule those two out. And if it isn't too mountainous, you can also rule out British Columbia, which leaves you with Manitoba in the plains.
Yeah, I also like the
Yes,
more northern
far
guess
north.
because it was Gen 2. Usually a lot of coverage in southern Manitoba is updated to Gen 4, or Gen 3 at least. Just a few
Especially
pockets.
in 2024, we had a lot of new coverage in Manitoba. So you would assume most of the roads down there have newer coverage with better camera quality, which is also something you can use to make a guess, of course.
And very committed guess coming in here by Shiina, not reading any fear. Meanwhile, Fennep found a sign, so technically he has enough time to maybe read something out of it, but also goes
Same-
north. Bokra. It does say
yeah.
Bokra.
Yep. On it, staying in the game here. Especially with 3.5 multis and only 1.2k health left, it can get scary.
Yeah, and
So
if he
you
doesn't
really
find
have
that
to
sign,
be
that could be
on
tough.
Point indeed, and we are in France with this architecture. We have a lot of dark roofs, which makes you think we are more northwest in the country. It's a good clue to get that region of France based on architecture. Not necessarily though.
Yeah.
But it is very dominant, so I would maybe believe that we are in the northwest. Unless we are just in Paris.
Yeah, I mean, what both players are really looking for here is the phone code. And it seems like Shiina might have found one, because he is zooming in right away after looking at a storefront, which usually gives you a phone code of the place. Oh, Fennep might also have one on a car.
Yeah, he was checking it out. I mean, it is pretty hilly.
Very different guesses here. Definitely will see a winner here.
Yes, that will definitely be game. I do count that as northwest. Would you agree?
I mean, it's
Is that
northwest
not-
of the label,
that is
so how
northwest.
can I argue with that one? Not much to say for me there.
Exactly. But yeah, Shiina getting the right info to confirm that as well. Fennep tried to go more east, which makes more sense with the hills, I feel like. We had some decently sized hills, which you get a lot on that border towards Germany.
That is true.
But not this time. And therefore Shiina picks up the win in the moving game. Very important, I would say. Getting up, getting the winning game, getting the moving game done against Fennep is more than just a lead.
True.
As
And
we move over to this round, it looks like Brazil. We have some round poles, which you see more in the south of the country. Starting around Belo Horizonte.
and very hilly city here. Usually Brazil cities are pretty flat, but this one seems like it's just built on top of a massive mountain.
Yep. Which you see a lot along the eastern coast. And it is Bahia, actually.
Yeah, did not get any
Shiina
Bahia vibes
getting the state right. Clicking the biggest city does make sense. It looked pretty big.
there. Yep.
Yeah, very good guess to start off this no-move game between Shiina and Fennep
See,
as we go over to this Japan round. However, you would expect Shiina to get closer here as he is from Japan.
I mean, this looks like
But
the
we
most
are
non-distinct round I've
in a
ever seen in my
forest.
life. If anyone can guess this, fair enough, but
Yeah.
this just looks like the most random location ever. Not
I
sure
mean, if
it's
I'm
really
playing
guessable.
solo, I click Shikoku. But
Yeah,
it's Chugoku.
to go.
I take that Soran guess, but it's really hard to commit if you are in a duel. In a duel, you always play different as you do when playing on your own. Because on your own, you can just commit and say, whatever, I get that vibe, I guess there.
Oh, would you look at this?
Oh, and I think you know what this car is. We have the white spreckles on it, which you get
Yeah.
a lot northwest of Manisa.
Yeah, Manisa being in the west of the country. Don't think any chatter has really heard of it, but it is near Izmir.
I mean Mersin, not
Oh.
Manisa. My bad.
Okay, Mersin. Mersin is near Adana on the south coast.
Cheeky little. No, I was just tricking Shiina. He was listening. He guessed
Ah,
Manisa.
got him. Got him
It should
good.
be like west of Mersin. You get that along the
Cheeky
province.
meta there by Gelotris coming in.
Yeah, especially around Silifke. You see it the most, and we are right outside Silifke there.
Well, you know what
The
spreckles are on
more
the car.
you know about the spreckles on the car, the better you guess in that country.
I guess so. The only thing I learned is what box is in the back of the car. That's pretty much all I looked at. As we
Hey,
see
hey.
a northern-looking tuk-tuk. And it does
It's
say...
saying the barangay, which are usually not on the map. You would
Yeah.
hope to find it, but most of the times...
It says something above it that could be city, because it says city of something. San Fernando, maybe?
That will definitely have better information on top. I don't know if it's just only for us that we can read it, because it is on a smaller screen. But Shiina is in San Fernando. So maybe... Oh, he found Dolores as well. Yeah.
And yeah, even finding a suburb
He got
there.
He did get there in the end. Maybe he assumed it's saying San Fernando and looked within San Fernando and then found it.
Yeah,
Very
because,
possible.
because sometimes you can at least see that it's two words, and that is already enough to make out what it says.
That is correct. And we move over to this round. The posts don't look octagonal, therefore I would say we are in Colombia, probably.
Especially with the soil, just dark soil,
Yeah.
grainy road. I would go somewhere
Coverage.
north of Bogota here. Just looks like somewhere. Ooh!
Oh, but we actually have Mexico click. I did
Don't
consider
see
it
Mexico.
first, but it should be Colombia.
I feel like it is Colombia. Never
It
mind.
is actually, okay.
It is an octagonal pole after all.
I was trying so hard to see the octagonal shape on the pole. But yeah, good on Shiina to picking that up. Anyway,
That's why we're
securing the
sitting
win.
here in our
Hey.
warm seats, just yapping about.
No. On my screen, I would have seen it's octagonal.
Yep.
Yep.
Same here. And Shiina taking that
Yep.
game 2-0
Very
pretty flawlessly.
Very strong game there from Shiina. Getting the 2-0, and most importantly, with the 2-0, the 3 sweet points.
That is true. Fennep losing that game, but he already got a win today against Amarine, so not the worst day for him as we see all the results coming in. And Trista, another 2-0 win. Your guy is really...
Hey.
I mean, Kirania is also not an easy opponent.
Nope, not at all. I would say, especially against Kirania and Zigzag, getting those 6 points from them is massive.
Also Consus beating Eamon 2-0. I mean, it is Consus, but Eamon is not an easy opponent, so also very clean 2-0 by him. We also had Clement beating Pan with a 2-1 win in the NMPZ mode. And as you can see, our next matchup will be none other than Finnbar playing against Strefan. We did have Strefan last week, you know, going up from his chair after his win and going to his boxing punching bag.
The best highlight.
That was probably my highlight of that week. But yeah, we see Strefan and Finnbar on the table. 42 and 33 points.
Yeah. Let's see where we have them. I mean, upcoming we have Strefan indeed and Finnbar. So place 8 versus 21. But Strefan is playing out of his mind lately. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Strefan is someone no one really had on their mind when picking a favorite or picking an underdog or someone who would overperform. But I feel like Strefan is that one. Strefan is playing really, really well. You don't see him playing that much here and there. I feel like he's maybe within the Polish community or has his own small community. I don't see him playing a lot here and there. But when I see him playing here in this league, I see how strong he is.
I mean, you also never see Consus play anywhere, and he's also a great player. Some people, you know, just like to grind in silence. And I would agree, Strefan definitely one of the positive surprises of the league. Along with Captain, I would say. And, you know, you might be wondering, what are these guys even competing for? I mean, is there anything more to this than just the World League? And there is. There will be 3 majors on 3 different continents. GeoGuessr is going worldwide. We have Tokyo, Dallas, and Jönköping. 3 very cool locations. So if you are from any of these regions of the world, definitely go there and get your ticket. And it all will end in the World Cup final in Copenhagen, Denmark on 29th and 30th of August. And as you can see here, again, if you subscribe to GeoGuessr on Twitch, the money will go directly to the prize pool. And you also, you know, enter a raffle to win a GeoGuessr goodie bag.
Yeah, and for this week, it is Dioka 11. Check your DMs, Dioka. You did win the raffle for this week.
Yeah. Shout out to Dioka 11.
Yeah. Ziggy, you said 3 very cool locations, 3 very cool places. Did GeoGuessr pay you, or do you really think Jönköping is that amazing?
Well, you know, I haven't been there myself. I haven't been to any of these 3 places for that matter. I've been to the US and Sweden, respectively, but I have not been to Dallas or Jönköping. And I mean, Tokyo, also an amazing city. I mean, probably the biggest city out of those 3, definitely. Just a very huge city. And also the location itself, the Tokyo Tower, definitely iconic. So would definitely love to go there if I had the chance. We will see.
Yeah, I mean, I did hear good things about Jönköping. From Swedes, though. From Swedes.
Yeah.
If Swedish people tell you that's a great place, then, you know, it's always hard to judge it. Okay. But I would believe them. I
have the producer streaming in my ear. It's good, it's good. So I will definitely believe him. Well, we have Finnbar against Strefan coming up, but I think we do deserve a break after those amazing 2 games. I mean, especially Zigzag versus Lenley got me pretty hyped and pumped. So, again, don't go anywhere. We have Finnbar against Trista coming up. But before that, quick break. See you soon.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blink lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup. Denmark. Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings. World-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KB Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.
And a warm welcome back from this very short break we had. I mean, we already talked a bit about the upcoming matchup. It is Finnbar against Stefan. You know, on paper, I feel like Finnbar is the favorite, but you already talked about how Stefan is coming as a bit of as a surprise. Kind of like Captain is, and just surprising us in how well he plays. So, yeah, definitely talk a bit more about how you may think that Stefan can, you know, put up a good fight against Finnbar, even though he has been playing amazing so far in this World League.
Yeah, I mean, I've already mentioned Finnbar is someone we know and we have seen playing in the past. He has a YouTube channel, he does upload his gameplay, you see a lot of his games and how he plays, whereas Stefan is more of someone who grinds in silence. But he has had very, very good games in the Pro League, and if he continues doing that, it can be very scary for Finnbar.
Yeah, I mean, and what better than to just, you know, look at the raw stats, and then we know we can judge based off that how good this matchup really is for anyone.
Yeah, usually numbers don't lie, that's what we know, and we have a win rate of 67%, which is insane. 67% in a Pro League with only high caliber players is an amazing stat. With a 60% precision almost on 38 seconds.
Yeah. As we mentioned earlier, Finnbar definitely one of the players that has one of the longest average guess times. He's up there with Trista, with Spaghetti. And we see, I mean, these stats, they're so close.
Like, if you blur out the names and you don't see who's playing and look at this, you don't really have Finnbar versus Stefan in mind, I feel like. You always think of, maybe it's Blinky, maybe it's Constance, maybe it's RC, those top dogs. But no, it is Finnbar and Stefan. Don't sleep on those two guys. It is gonna be an amazing match.
Yeah, I mean, we always have, you know, like the top two players from EMEA being Blinky and Constance, but, you know, we will see these guys competing against Blinky and Constance in the EMEA majors this year. So maybe, you know, can stir up a bit, because I think especially in like a best of 3, best of 5 format, I mean, anything is really possible. And if the favorites go out early, which happens, then anything is possible. We saw it in the last EMEA. We saw Constance and Blinky going out pretty early. We saw Constance going out against Tupotic. We saw Blinky going out against Kratzu, against his own, you know, countryman, Landsman.
It does happen.
Against his fellow French.
Fellow
French.
Yeah, we saw Gelotus not qualifying. I mean,
yeah,
hey,
big surprise.
Anything can happen at the EMEA. But I said numbers don't lie, but we see Stefan on place 21. Which I feel like, I mean, maybe numbers do lie sometimes, because he does not deserve to be on 21. I feel like he's playing like a top 10 player right now.
Well, if you add up him having played all the games, he would end up in the top 10 right now, but he just has probably one of the lowest amounts of games played.
I think it was 16 on his side. And we start off in Spain. We have the abbreviation for a regional road. It is SE, which often people think it is Sevilla, which is...
Correct.
Is it right?
Yeah, should be.
Yeah.
That's Finnbar going for Salamanca there,
because,
maybe?
Yeah, because some abbreviations can trick you sometimes. I think you think of big cities.
Yeah, we did see CV coming up again in a game where Blinky was playing, and both players ended up going Valencia, even though it wasn't. So some of them are used in a different place as well. So you can get tricked by it.
Yeah. Also, Zamora and Zaragoza is one of them, where Zamora has ZA, and with ZA you think of Zaragoza.
Yeah.
But it's not the case.
This seems like a very distinct road.
Yeah, it does, but I don't know it.
Yeah, the blur looks very weird here.
Because, yeah, usually if you have a certain type of coverage, like you have this blur in front of the camera, you have overcast coverage on a rainy road. If you combine those 3 clues, you think of a certain road, usually. But maybe it's just a short span of a road, which is not worth remembering. But yeah, They both end up around Esquel, and it is indeed southwest on it.
Nobody clicking the yellow road.
both dodged the main road for some reason. But yeah, I'll take that.
Fair enough. No big points won or lost there. No biggie. And this round will also be minimal. Explain to us why this is Rwanda. We have a flag there, technically, but...
Yeah, I mean, we have the Google car, which you also see in Kenya nowadays, though. Without the snorkel.
Yeah,
but it did start in Kigali first and expanded a bit further into the country.
I think with the backlight, the red backlight, it should only be Rwanda. I don't think Kenya has that. Especially the car being just bright white. I think that is pretty much unique.
Slight differences where you definitely have to jump into Street View and compare those two if you want to learn that. Some people don't like using car meta and refuse to learn it, which is understandable. But if you're playing this game competitively, you take every advantage you can to get closer.
Finnbar lining up a very small town here. Maybe has something.
Yeah, and they're both on it. Rukomo.
Yeah, who doesn't know that town?
Hey, that's a classic.
Looks like a buzzing place.
Yeah. Played Intersection GeoGuessr Rukomo for days.
Fair enough.
Pick that one up as we move over to this round, which looks like Peru just by the landscape.
Yeah, you have the black Google car.
Yep, if it is black, because the gray car can also look black in Peru. However, the black car is only north of Lima. But sometimes it's a bit hard to tell whether it's the actual black car or the gray car. Now we have some information saying Sima.
Never heard of that.
It is 71 kilometers. You know, in a country like Peru, you assume with 71 kilometers you might see it early on the map.
But 70 kilometers could be the distance driven, and if the road is as windy as we just saw, then 70 kilometers might be nothing on the map.
Yeah, it adds up quick if you go on a curvy route. And Stefan, I don't know if he found anything, because that click did look confident.
Yeah, he definitely has found something there, because we don't really see the exact zoom level the players are zooming in, so they might see a town name we don't see on their screen. That happens sometimes.
Very possible.
And where's Toby if you need him?
I wish I was in cast with Toby right now to tell me where we are. We are in Denmark. We have those town signs, which you see on almost every intersection in Denmark. A very well-signed country.
Yeah, if you get lost in Denmark, I don't really know how.
You can't, yeah. You really can't get lost in this country. Pretty much signs everywhere. Which also means you often get just very small cities written on it, so always need to get a feel for what is worth scanning and which town name isn't worth scanning on the map for.
It does say Aalborg, so that's a very good sign found there by Finnbar. Just a very random sign, actually very impressive that he looked at that one.
Yeah, that is indeed interesting, and that can be big points, because we have Strafan on the Odense Island, but it is just outside Aalborg there.
Losing almost 2k points in Denmark, how frustrating would that be as a player?
That's a lot of points for Denmark standards. But you can't blame a Odense guess if you don't know where we are, if you didn't find the right clues.
Okay.
It's always good.
So I have to say something, because I got screamed at by a Danish person that it's not Odense, it's Odense, apparently. I'm not sure what the Danish people... Yeah, apparently.
I will try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, apparently. I was also a bit surprised that it is like this. I mean, we just have a very standard Sweden with a lot of signs here, not much to really say here. But apparently that's how you pronounce the city. Just a bit of a different pronunciation, or not pronunciation, but where you put the focus on the word.
Well, you could also say just the island, but I feel like that's more difficult to pronounce.
Yeah.
It is 3 letters. It's F, Y, and N, but who knows how to pronounce that? Do you know that?
Fön?
Fyn? Maybe?
I don't know. Maybe.
Chat? Any Danish people in chat to confirm or roast us?
Yeah.
Feel free.
There might be. Might be one or two.
I'm always fine with getting roasted when I pronounce stuff wrong. As we move over, yeah, we had a Sweden round there. Didn't really need to say too much about that one. We had some very good signs. Now we have this sticker on the sign of the vehicle, which is the license plate number, which will also have the city written under it in Colombia.
But they can be very small, so very hard to find sometimes. We do have thatched roofs here, so you definitely think about north here.
Always worth to look at it, definitely, but we will find out where we are. It is pretty flat, so the north does make sense. However, we have some slight hills.
Some slight hills, but I
It's
still
quite
think
green,
north.
so maybe we are not that far north, just like, yeah. Starting in the pocket towards the north, and we are between Cartagena and Barranquilla.
And I mean, so far, Stefan is playing quite well. The only real hiccup by him was Denmark. That's the really the only points lost for him. And if he continues playing like this, he will definitely take this game as we go into what looks like a standard Finland. Just looks like a Finnish road.
Yep, the coverage fits again. We have this fall coverage with these very yellow leaves on the trees from time to time.
The question is, how
Also
far north do you go on
overcast,
this?
Hilly. I mean, definitely not on half, because just slightly north of the not on half you have this coverage, but also on the border roads very far north. So I feel like you have to kind of commit either going very far north or just slightly north of middle Finland. I think those are the two options you have with this hilliness and coverage type. We also get the chat messages in now. Fyn was 90% close, apparently.
Oh, okay. I'll take that.
90% is good. So yeah, I think they both do the right click there to cover all possibilities. It was a bit further southwest. Not much happening on this round.
Yeah.
But we are on 5 times multis now. And with 5 times multis, anything can happen.
And it says
are
Scottish outside something.
Yeah, we have a Shetland guess here.
Very
From Finnbar,
very quick.
far north. It does give those vibes because you see the body of water, you don't have too much going on, just a couple houses here and there, which are good clues for the Northern Islands there. But there are more islands than that.
And that will be enough to win the game, sadly.
Yeah, that is not... I mean, on either side, you hate to lose like that, and you also don't really love to win like that, but you will definitely take it.
But overall, I would say it deserved to win. And as I mentioned, like, the only real hiccup was the Denmark round. Other than that, he didn't drop a lot of points.
Nope, not at all. No surprise. As I said, Stefan is playing very, very well lately. And we have a Wisconsin sticker on the pole. Also these property markers. You see a lot in Wisconsin. So with both given, I would believe that this is indeed Wisconsin. And we have both of these players making thoughts about where we could be within that state.
Yeah, the west is usually a bit more hilly.
Have some hills, which puts you more towards the west, indeed. And it is pretty far west, not that far south. I would have probably also guessed where they guessed.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, can also happen up there. And we move over from this round. What's this round? We are in Thailand, we have Thai language. District Napo. Also some English on it, which isn't too common in Thailand, to also have it in English.
It says the province name, but I can't read it.
Yeah.
But it looks like it says Buriram because that's where Finnbar is and that's where Stefan is as well.
Okay.
That's technically part of it.
Be in the pocket. Yeah, it is in the pocket, I feel like.
I guess we could be on the border and that's why it said it.
Maybe.
one
Maybe that
possibility.
sign that indicate a province border. And we have those hook poles here. I mean, it's a couple of countries with hook poles, really, but mostly Latvia.
You have to combine
You
it with
have
landscape.
them- yeah. You have hook poles in Bulgaria, but mostly on concrete poles. It's interesting how they both end up right on the same point,
Yep.
but we'll take it. They give a cheeky wave after that, of course. As we go over to this round in Peru, I think we had those Peruvian bollards.
Yep.
It is a bit more green tropical, so you lean away from the coast, going more inland.
And this doesn't look like a main road, and usually the southern like roads east of the Andes in Peru are main roads, so you definitely think about Tarapoto here, and that's exactly
Yep.
where Finnbar is zooming in. Would also be my guess.
Yep. That's actually a very good rule of thumb. If you are on a rural road, not really a main road, you consider more towards the north, around Tarapoto.
Finnbar knew the road there because he did line it up, and he is right on it, so pretty nice guess there by him.
Yeah, definitely good for the mantle, but not many points. Because of course Stefan is also around there.
Well, we are staying in the Americas, it seems, but
Do indeed, we have those fan palms. Common in Mexico. We also have a transformer on the pole, which is also more likely to be Mexico and Latin America at least. It does not look like the US, given the fences. I feel like they would be out of metal in the US. So yeah, should be somewhere in Mexico. Kind of hard to region guess. It could be, yeah. It looked dry,
yeah.
so you can't blame that guess from Finnbar.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned earlier, you also have those in the south. Very, very hard to region guess sometimes at Mexico.
We also had those aloe vera plants, kinda. I feel like those are more common, like towards CDMX, but you could also get it all the way in Guadalajara on the east. There's a lot, but they usually are a bit more bluish, if that makes sense. Usually the green ones are usually around CDMX or a bit further north or south. As we go on to this, what are we looking at?
Could have definitely used that. In an MPZ I sent Guatemala, but we don't have the Guatemala car. Therefore I would assume we are in Mexico again.
Okay, but
We
how do
have
you
the
region guess
pickup
this?
car again. I click CDMX because I could see this being pretty far south again.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could see a Chiapas here.
And it's Guerrero
It
again.
is south. It is south, but I think Finnbar committed a bit too far because
CDMX would have been closest. Just saying, yet again.
yeah. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. That doesn't feel right, but we are not here to be right. We are here to win.
I guess so.
Sometimes just covering a couple possibilities will give you the win if your opponent commits too far. And we have a red Google car here on this camera generation. Would put us in Slovakia or Sweden. And with the looks...
Okay, I'm a bit confused here.
yeah. It doesn't look like your average Sweden, but I still would go Sweden with how the road is built, because I feel like in Slovakia it would be a bit wider.
Yeah, but also I feel like if you go Sweden, you kind of have to go south here just because it looked nothing like the usual Sweden. It looked very lush. But it's very hard to commit in something like Sweden. Also just a very long country where you can lose just a lot of points.
Very, very possible. Why are those acai palms?
Yeah, almost looks like it. We also have the typical Maranhão palm.
Okay, then if... Okay, we have a black bag of signs for the viewers. We should be in Brazil. We have a black back-off sign. In the Americas, you usually consider Brazil with that. But besides that, how do I explain that this is Brazil? Looks like it.
Looks like it.
Acai palms. I mean, acai palms is also something you should only find in Brazil, in Southern America. And they are usually more in the north.
Yeah, usually just Belém to like Manaus you can find them.
But it is a bit too dry to be on the coast, south. Also maybe a bit too hilly.
Both in Para now.
Well, actually it could be.
And it turns out to be Mato Grosso.
Wow. Mato Grosso? I mean, I would assume it's not acai palms then. Maybe? Or it's just acai palms in Mato Grosso. I don't know.
Maybe.
It was a confusing round. But again, Stefan just getting closer there.
And that means, you know, we came in saying, you know, Finnbar is so far higher up on the board. But as we said, Stefan doesn't have a lot of games played, and it really showed, you know, that he should be up there with the other guys. And I feel like he will end up there at the end of the World League when he kind of catches up with the games he is missing. So, yeah, definitely a good performance by him, and definitely another show of him by, yeah, guys, I'm here, by the way. And, you know, Finnbar looks good on paper, but I can beat him. So, good performance.
Yeah. I am not surprised at all here. I've said it, Stefan is a very, very strong player, very slept on. Nothing really has him in their minds when speaking of favorites, speaking of good players, but he is up there, definitely playing very strong. And we go over to the next game.
Yeah, and I feel like this is more like a matchup towards the end of the table, I would say. Flyme definitely not having the best World League right now, and Malfunction also, you know, a lot of people had high hopes with her, but so far a bit disappointing in some aspects. But 41% is honestly not too bad considering the players she is going up against. But yeah, against Flyme, I feel like it's a must-win situation for her, just to, you know, keep the chance alive to make it to the majors. And if you win the major, you can definitely qualify to the World Cup still. So there's still a possibility. But you know, it's getting smaller and smaller with every loss she accumulates.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in this matchup, Flyme versus Malfunction, I feel like both players kind of lack consistency. For example, Malfunction is a player who plays a lot of moving and is really focused on moving gameplay. And I feel like however, okay, I take that back. I wanted to say Malfunction, whenever she loses the moving game, she will have a hard time. But she actually won a lot of NMPZ and no-move games as well. So it's kind of hard to predict. But still, there are some inconsistencies in their guesses, definitely. Also on Flyme's side, I feel like there's a lot of stuff he needs to know if you play in this league that he sometimes lacks. But on the other hand, he sometimes surprised everyone with very insane guesses. So yeah, it's about getting the right guess at the right time for either side here.
Yep, can only second that one. Both of them instantly zooming in, or should I say rather Malfunction is only zooming in, and very interesting to see because I would imagine Malfunction to look for good information, but maybe she found a town name and now is just scanning for it. But both of them going for the north of Peru here.
Yep, makes sense with the sandiness. Somewhere along the coast. Kind of hard to reach and guess urban Peru. They both end up going a bit further north, but it was just around Chimbote.
Yeah, I definitely agree with urban South American. Can be quite hard sometimes, especially Argentina, Chile. Usually don't have a lot of information on it, so definitely something to keep in mind. This just looks like the road in the northwest of South Africa. Driving left, you know, with the blue Google car.
Especially the road lines we had in the beginning. Those double lines in a gap with the dashed lines is something you see a lot in South Africa. And if you have this dry landscape, you think of more inland, west and north. The further south you go, the greener it gets.
Yep. That is true.
They both end up south of Carnarvon. It was north of it. Malfunction on the right side. Gaining a sweet 100 points.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. Just a few points. South Africa, definitely very good when you find a sign, because they usually just give you the town name to a very big one.
Yeah, they give you everything you need. Usually you also have the road number on it, usually. Very good signage in South Africa.
And now
you get to them.
Yeah, I thought we did spawn next to a bus stop, but I'm not sure whether it was actually a bus stop, because they are regional. In the country of Sweden, where we are. Why is it Sweden, Geologist?
Yeah, we have the dashed lines along the road. We have a slight red tint in the road. I don't know if you notice it, but it's definitely something you pick up with the more you see it. Definitely also a good clue for Sweden. They love their red tints in the road. Besides that, of course we had language. But after you see those yellow signs and short dashed lines, I think only Sweden is possible with short dashed and yellow signs.
And it wasn't a bus stop, by the way, at spawn. I saw that.
Happens. Pretty far north there. Kind of hard to region guess, especially if it's hilly. You consider more the western side of Sweden. But you also have some southwest of Umeå, where you get a lot of hills.
Yeah, even all the way to the coast. There are some national parks just on the coast there, where you can go hiking even.
Indeed, and we are in Australia. Again, driving on the left side, we have, well, hard to explain by the driving side here, because you could look either way and tell the driving side if you are alone on the road. But now we are catching up on another car, and we see that car is on the left.
And it's just Tasmania again.
Yes,
you see
again,
these
we have that brownish soil again. Whereas this time it's a bit more sandy, but we also have the possum guard. Not specific to Tasmania, but very, very, very common.
And it's just down outside Queenstown there. Obviously Queenstown, one of the most common names in both or pretty much every former colony of the UK. You can see it in Australia, you can see it in New Zealand, and probably in a lot of other countries. But Chalotris, I mean, another one today.
Indeed, another one. We are back to Turkey. We have May coverage, maybe May, April.
Maybe.
Which you see on that span from Ankara towards Bolu towards. Okay.
And where's Ayas?
Which is.
It did say
Ayas is west of Ankara.
Okay. Well, it did say that on the bin, but I wouldn't expect anyone to know that other than you, so...
It is very small. It is very small, but yeah, as I said, with this fall coverage, most of that is between, yeah, as a rule of thumb, between Bursa and a bit east of Ankara is where you have those hilly spring coverages. And I think Ayas is also within the Ankara province, if I'm not mistaken.
And yeah, it definitely sure is. That is just right in the middle of Ankara province, pretty much.
Yep.
But again, you know, they both found the information, but I feel like that is too specific to know.
Don't expect anyone to know Ayas.
Meanwhile, they will both get the road here, because this road is famous.
The construction road along the lake in Kazakhstan. All of this road has this distinct coverage.
Yeah.
However, on this span of the road, you don't see the construction really. Yeah, but it still looks distinct.
Yeah, you have these hills in the distance sometimes, random hills, and it just looks like it. Also sunset sometimes.
Yeah. We also have to mention there aren't too many roads covered in Kazakhstan, so...
also a big factor, yeah.
Therefore, some roads are more recognizable. It is that road still, but it can also look like that. Well, it was clear that we are not along the lake. I thought we are south or north of it, because we didn't have the construction along the road, which you get along the lake. Yeah.
And another ZAR and another road number on the spawn. You don't really have to move here. The question is, who knows the town Citron? Just sounds like citrus.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It is the R26. Did it say 26?
I'm not sure. I only saw Citron.
Well, I feel like knowing the road number is more important, and then you scan along the road number for Citron, but yeah.
It seems like, or it says
see.
Sastron.
Oh, yeah, Sastron could be it.
Wasn't my first vibe guess just downtown Lesotho there?
Nope, not at all. I mean, we have a Table Mountain there in the distance.
But you get so caught up in scanning there that you don't really look around at your surroundings, because obviously that sign is usually better than any type of mountain you see there, but could have helped him at least minimizing the points lost there.
And we go over to this round, which looks like India to me. We have some English, but it's a company name.
The question is, who knows how to read?
Yeah, we have language clues. There are multiple languages in India. How many is it? I still don't know. Is it 7 languages?
I think, yeah, but there's a lot of dialects.
But even, yeah.
But also, I think there was a Maha pole there. Was
okay,
it?
I did not see it.
Or maybe not.
Is it Maharashtrian language though?
Maharati?
Maharati?
I'm not sure. Or it was an Andhra Pradesh pole. I'm not quite confident here, but...
Let's see that more. That would fit more with the language, but we will find out.
Oh, good sign found, and it looks like it says the state and the town.
Function going back to spawn. I thought she is going to line something up now.
And I mean, that is quite literally on the border.
Between Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. I don't know which side. It looks like on Madhya Pradesh because there is like a pocket south of it.
Yeah, I think so too. Then it was definitely a Madhya pole. I said Andhra Pradesh earlier. Sorry, I mixed up the Pradeshes. Why do they have 3 Pradesh and they're so far away from each other?
True. They should rename it.
Facts. Well, anyway.
Make it easier for us, please.
True.
And yeah, those street signs are very Latin American. Colorful. And we should be in Argentina with that concrete pole there.
And you won't know what I said earlier about guessing urban Argentina and moving and finding information in those cities.
Yeah,
it can be quite tough.
Very difficult. Sometimes you have, maybe if you're lucky, you can have a city on those street signs written in a very small text, but usually you don't. And just generally, I feel like in all of South America, urban rounds tend to not have that much information. Especially in Chile. I struggle in Chile a lot to find town names in urban environments. But they both decide to click somewhere around Rosario. Always a good hedge to cover a lot of big cities.
And now, not much time left for Flyme to turn this moving game around. I think we are on the final round here. And we're back in ZA, 3rd round of this moving game, being in the same country. Question is, will there be a sign? Because if there's a sign, it would be over for Flyme pretty much instantly. But he doesn't opt to insta-guess here. Oh, and Malfunction found a road name. That is...
lining it up as well. I mean, South Africa also a country where you could learn your red roads. Because there aren't too many. Because, like, a lot of them are north of Pretoria, and... I mean, here you could tell by the landscape that you aren't there, and then you can link out to just a couple roads. But if you get the right information, you will be on it, and so is Malfunction. And she takes the win on the moving game.
Yeah, guess the right road there. We're basically in Namibia there. Also a very recognizable road, as you said. Red roads are worth learning. Zigzag would have 5K'd that one for sure. And Malfunction, kind of clean moving game, I have to say. Obviously, both not really picking up that many good clues in some round. We saw the India round. But other than that, pretty well played by Malfunction.
Indeed. Yeah, no move. We have a post box there.
Yeah.
You know, starting off playing GeoGuessr, I thought I'm always good of only guessing United States with that, but it can also be in Canada. However, with this landscape, feel like we are a bit more southern.
Whoa.
It's Oklahoma, and would you look at that? Region guessing Oklahoma there.
Hey, some people might say it's a hedge, but
No.
nope.
No, I refuse.
I refuse to believe that. That
No,
seems
she's
too
not surprised
specific.
about the guess. She's not surprised about the guess, therefore she knew. And we move over to this winter-ish. Not ish, it's definitely winter.
Yep.
Winter round. And you have that a lot in Russia, from Moscow all the way down to the Caucasus.
And
You get this coverage.
yeah, what you
Also
saw
a bit
both
further east.
players doing here is looking for birches, because birches kind of stop near like Shakti. So definitely good if you don't see one, but I feel like there were some birches there through the tree line, and Malfunction getting the right oblast there in Penza. Not sure how again, but it's a pretty good start for the game for her.
Indeed. Yeah, especially on round 3, getting your opponent down to almost 4k is pretty impressive. As we are in Peru again, we have those tuk-tuks. And the green landscape again. And again, we are not really on the main road, I would assume. It could be, though.
It looks like a pretty big road. It could be a main road, but
yeah. But if you wanna keep it safe and go by chances, you always guess around Tarapoto, I guess. But this time it was the road to Pucallpa. Makes sense. Also very jungly green. Not much happening there.
nope. As you said, it's just a safety guess, just a lot more dense coverage around Tarapoto, so it's always, you know, can be a smart idea to guess there. Maybe not guess there every time you see a green Peru, but some very distinct license plates, right? Why is the color so
Yes.
greenish, yellowish?
Yeah, I forgot where you get them. There are definitely different license plates within South Africa, but I feel like they're not worth learning because usually you can't tell the tint out, but in this case we can.
I mean, especially on both, like...
I know KwaZulu-Natal has some very distinct license plates.
It doesn't look like KwaZulu-Natal to me, though. This looks way too dry.
But yeah, on this location I would not guess KwaZulu-Natal, especially with how flat it is.
I kind of like either Bloemfontein or... I don't know, it looks very dry, but we're in a big city, so they just planted some trees.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Bloemfontein is always a safety hedge to cover a lot, and it was just on the label, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't even know what town lies there. That is beyond my knowledge.
But thankfully, I always have the map open on the side, and I would assume it was Bridgetown or the R. Yeah, one of the two, probably.
Ghana tape and Big 2025.
Yep. The good
Never
old
leaves
Ghana
us.
tape. I love that. Very important.
I think the better meta here is the taxis with the yellow side doors and random yellow elements. Also very cool thing you see in Ghana.
Quite interesting that they've all decided to just build their cars like that. Or paint it like that. But I love that. I love when like a country just decides to do some country-specific things. Which are pretty random, but at the same time kind of cool. Especially for us GeoGuessr players to know, okay, that's only in that one country.
And another Denmark, yet again. Danish bollard right there. And it is some island. Don't ask me the name of this island. No clue what that is. Again,
I could look it up, but I don't want to butcher the pronunciation.
Yeah, then you need to pronounce it. Oh yeah, especially that name. Yeah, I'm not saying
We'll go to round 7 here.
Not saying that one.
The
Danish people can put the name in chat, but yeah, I'm not pronouncing that one, quite frankly. We go to India, yet again. How do these people guess this location, though?
Good question. We have some colorful houses.
And just a label click by Malfunction.
Yeah. I cannot blame her for that. I don't see any specific poles. The architecture looks a bit more southern to me for some reason, but the landscape looks more northern.
I think we did have like Hindi language, and wow, it is all the way in the northernmost pocket of Punjab, I think.
Yeah.
How did we not see any mountains there?
That's
quite
a good
interesting.
question. That is a good question. I probably I blame the camera quality. Probably didn't see that far with that.
Yep, me too.
But yeah, we
Never
are in
blame
Poland
yourself.
here.
Always blame the round.
No,
game.
there's always something you can blame, just not yourself.
True that.
Yeah, Poland here with very flat landscape.
And Flyme tries to region
We have
guess.
the yellow yield sign there.
Whew. Region guessing Poland. It's not impossible, and that's 2.5k damage. And now
That's insane.
anything's possible, really. I mean, high multis. Flyme, just get one good guess in, and the game is yours. And then we're tied up at 1-1. And we do get a big country, it seems like.
It does seem like it. Looks like the US to me.
I'm sending Indiana, Ohio here.
Yeah, the trees look very northern. Yeah, we have those big bushy pines, which you shouldn't see too often in the south. But besides that, of course, quite difficult as we are in a forest, but with how green it is at the same time and flat, are we in the grid?
It is a north-south grid, so that also leans me more to the north
yeah.
and west, Midwest.
I like the plains then, yeah, Indiana, Illinois. Could be a good guess here.
Flyme in Tennessee or Kentucky there. And what a guess by Malfunction. Not even in the right state, just region guessing the state casually, and that will be her 2-0 victory. Very important for her to, just keep the dream alive somehow. But I think against Flyme it was just a must-win situation for her. Definitely an opponent where you need to get those 3 points, because I feel like a lot of other opponents will get those 2-0s as well. So you don't want to lose the points where you can definitely easily gain them. Not to, play him down, but...
Yeah, but if you look at all the other opponents you're competing with and you know they did gain a lot of points off Flyme, you kind of have to also get it, as you said. But thankfully, I've corrected myself earlier on where I said Malfunction is a moving player, but I feel like she played way better on no move than she did on moving game here. I mean, starting off, especially with that Oklahoma guess. And many more. She did play very, very well. Very deserved win.
Yeah, 3 more results coming in. We see Mada beating Leero in NMPZ, going all the way to the 3rd game. We have Kirania versus V89 also going to NMPZ, and Kirania taking the dub there against V89. And we have no surprise there. We have Anu versus Consus. Consus just taking another 2-0 victory. Pretty decent day for Consus. I mean, 6 point day done. I feel like pretty easy for him.
Yeah, I mean, not much to comment on any Consus game that's going to 0. That's not a rarity. I mean, that's a very common occurrence. Yeah, another 6 points, even though he's that high up already, will definitely, make you lean back a bit more and take it more chill from now on.
Yeah, good day for the Benelux countries today. We have Trista taking 6 points. We have Consus taking 6 points. We just fought a Malfunction win for 3 points. And we have 1 more slot left, and we have our crowd favorite again. We have Lenley versus Flyme. We just saw Flyme taking a pretty harsh loss. So, I mean, should be an easy win for Lenley, surely. Not jinxing it, but we will take a quick break before this match, and see you guys very soon.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blink lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup. Denmark. Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings. World-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KB Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.
And welcome back to the last two games of the slot. And I mean, I saw the support, the massive support in chat for Lenley. It is Lenley versus Flyme. We just saw Flyme, you know, getting a harsh loss against Malfunction. Malfunction played phenomenally, especially in the no-move mode, I have to say. Definitely some very cracked guesses in there. We saw Lenley earlier, you know, winning against Zigzag on Australia. So he's definitely off to a good start for today. So, you know, maybe, yo, for him, this is usual business, just taking a quick dub. Or is it, Gelotris?
Good question, good question. We have indeed both players in here who have already played a game today, Lenley and Flyme. And as you said, Lenley, he just has this momentum, getting close to the 60% win rate. With an average guess time of 34 seconds. Yeah, very standard guessing time. But all you need to do is being correct, whereas Flyme is a little bit slower on the pace. So, I don't know. Do you want to put the pressure on and play against that? If you go into a game knowing that your opponent is taking it a little bit slow, do you want to play against that, or do you stick with your standard play style? That's definitely something you have to consider as a player here. But yeah, Flyme just came out of a game. The mental will definitely play a part as well here, getting right into the next one. And could also be an advantage for Lenley.
Yeah, you mentioned if Flyme can switch up his playstyle, but I don't really see that happening, because you have to imagine Flyme is not really in the most confident state right now. I mean, he is not looking quite good on the table there, and it's very hard for him to make instant guesses. I don't think he's the person to really pull that off, and I don't think Lenley will see himself pressured by that, because Lenley can also, you know, play fast. He doesn't need a lot of time.
Yep, definitely. I don't know if you maybe got me wrong, because I said Lenley would more likely be the person to intercent here, to put, you know,
just another thought. I don't think Flyme will intercent, but
yeah, but
just covering that.
Yep,
okay.
You also covered it the other way around. As we indeed see a pretty fast plunk from Lenley before he got to any information.
Yeah,
or did he get anything on his screen? I didn't see it, at least.
Landscape is all he needs.
But we have some wineries, mountains, the southern vibes of France. So, passing around Montpellier is always a good hedge to cover the eastern and western side of it.
Yep, love the pronunciation there.
Thank you.
Also didn't want to say that town. Like some other towns like Tulu. You know,
Tulu?
I could say those, but sometimes I'm not
Hey.
really sure how to pronounce the other cities.
Usually I'm careful with it, but sometimes I give it a cheeky try, you know. I'm always happy to be corrected though.
Yeah.
As we go over to this Ukraine round, we have again this reddish road. You also see in Sweden a lot. It's definitely another country where you get the red tint, but also a red car. Both combined will give you the country, and from then on you can use terrain. If it's hilly, you are more likely to be in the west. If it's piney with a lot of pines along the road, you are more likely to be in the north. Then you have some car clues: the white car in Odessa, the black car in
Donetsk.
Donetsk, not Dnipro.
Donetsk.
It is Donetsk. The Donetsk in Ukraine.
And
It's pretty
Donetsk
far
would have been
east.
closer than their guesses, really. It is Kharkiv.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I covered all the areas where you have clues, but that's an area where you don't really have a clue for, usually. Or not easy clues, at least. Kind of hard to get the eastern part sometimes.
Yeah.
And we are in Spain now. Looks like we have some Spanish language on that sign.
And it does say
Architecture
Castilla-La Mancha.
looks-
And it says
yeah.
Cuenca Madrid. I
Cuenca
mean,
Madrid as well. We have the A40 accessible from here. And the N400, which is a red road. Usually those are findable very quick. So if you look... Cuenca
it's pretty big.
and Madrid. So are we between them? Or can we access both Cuenca and Madrid from taking that road?
I'm not really sure.
Because the way it's written there, it looks like we are between it, but that would be kind of useless information, no?
Well, I guess. I mean, we're in Castilla-La Mancha, and Lenley is on the northernmost part of it, and we are just downtown Cuenca, yes.
Yeah, we are indeed between it.
Between it, but very
But
close to the city
very-
itself.
Yeah, very, very close to it. Makes sense after all. And we are in round 4. We have those political Edwards there. Brazilian pole with the letters on it.
But what a round this is.
It is indeed. I thought we are somewhere Mato Grosso initially, but we have the striped car as well, which you only get in a couple states. Now I'm thinking more northeastern, but why is it so flat?
Questions after questions, really, here.
Yeah, there's a lot of mixed vibes on this round, definitely. A round where you are happy to be able to move around as the players do. I must say they play it kind of slow
Yeah,
to really obtain all the information they have rather than get out of the city.
Lenley found the town entrance, which is very good, because you could find the phone code. I don't think you were just in time.
Yeah, definitely. Something you want to do in Brazil is go along those buildings and hope for that sweet area code. So I would assume we had a 69 area code for Rondonia.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but both of them ended up in Rondonia, but Lenley still ending up losing 2k points there.
Indeed, and we are in Japan now, and both players, of course, take the first look on the pole before looking at anything else. It looks like we have the northern type of poles.
I'm not very sure, because the plates don't look northern at all.
No.
Because it's not a long plate like you would say in Hokkaido, but now we have very good information. Hazaki.
The transformers aren't... Flyme is going pretty far south.
He is scanning.
Don't think we are in Kyushu here. Right?
I'm not sure. There is a phone code on the sign, but Lenley is looking at the plates instead.
Yeah, the plates are weird, and he's also confused about them, which I do understand. But in Kyushu, you would have the transformers on 180 degrees usually, which we didn't have on the location. Yeah.
Pooh. And will that be enough to take down the game? It is just a one-shot. So far, it was pretty good by Flyme. And as you said, he kind of lacks consistency sometimes, and there it shows. I feel like some of the plates were, you know, the metal plates, but it was very hard to see. But I think there was a phone code on Lenley's sign, so he might have used that one as well. It's sometimes hard to see what the players look exactly because they have peripheral vision, so they just look at it.
Definitely. It's way easier if you're like leaned back and just obtain stuff. And for the players, they are under pressure. They don't know, should I look at this pole? Is there maybe a sign around? Do I fast move out of this? Do I stay here? It's a lot of thoughts they have. Because we can just look at one thing, and if it's not the right thing to look at, then it's whatever. We are not playing anyway.
True.
But yeah, it's definitely not that easy from a player's perspective. I can speak of experience there. Very standard France round without many clues. You guess around Paris, always a good guess. If you don't get too much of the southern vibes with the big mountains, which you would get along the south or southeast.
Not the easiest country to reach, I guess, after all, is it?
Nope, not really. Moving on to this. I am not sure what we are looking at here.
We have like a blackish car. We have a wooden pole and also like a trident pole. So my first idea was Peru.
Peru is
Could
the
be Mexico
standard,
as well, but I
yes.
don't think Mexico uses these trident poles there.
Also, the green hill does look more Peruvian than Mexican. Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess Peru does make more sense, especially with the sun north. Which you usually don't really need. But it's always good to confirm, I guess. And again, we have talked about it multiple times this stream. If you have this green landscape and you are in a rural environment, you consider more of the north. But you can also just line up the valley as Lenley did, getting very, very close there on round 2, getting Flyme below 4k health already.
I did not see that coming, to be fair. 7 kilometers and that location is quite wild. And we go into a very interesting location. This almost looks like Burgos in Spain, like north of Madrid, but I am not really sure.
We have a Zaragoza, yes, which is interesting because usually it's way more flat around there. But you can definitely have some hills around, definitely covering a couple areas, and it was indeed a bit further north where you start getting a bit more elevation. But it could have been also a bit further south of Lenley's pin, so I think it's a smart thing to always just hedge it out and cover everything, especially if you are in a lead.
Yeah, I mean, this game is looking quite clean by him. Took game 1 pretty convincingly, and now he's off to a pretty hefty start here. Already 4k points up against Flyme. It's going to be hard for him.
Those are the 2 standard guesses you usually see on a mountainous Oman round. There's a mountain ridge going all the way to the UAE along the whole span of the north in Oman, so pretty hard to make a guess based on the terrain. But at least you know you are in the north usually, especially if the direction of the mountain range goes from east to west, or north or northwest to southeast-ish.
And we're back with the yellow, with red car
and
here.
We have red car again, and again I would say we are more likely to be in Sweden. But this time I don't get the far southern vibes.
I think still
or
southern
at least there's a possibility. Yep.
It is very far south again, and that is
That
enough.
is actually
Just very barely enough, and then they put the glasses on. I mean, very quick work for him.
New glasses, new cap, and it's matching as well. Red glasses and red on the cap.
Zeppelin Rental. Okay, don't know what that is, but looks cool.
Shout out to Zeppelin Rental, and shout out to Lenley playing pretty much flawlessly, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, moving game was a pretty good start by Flyme, but as you mentioned earlier, consistency plays a big part, especially with multipliers being in place. You can't really slip up like that. Going Kyushu on Tokyo in moving is a pretty big mistake, and it shouldn't happen. And if it happens, you lose the game. But yeah, pretty well played by Lenley overall.
That is indeed what it is. Yeah, I mean, I know Flyme used a lot of polls in the previous games as well in this league. I know Flyme knows his polls in Japan. But these ones we had were a bit generic and didn't really have the clues you usually look for. But I think in the last second on the screen I saw a plate under the transformer, which is a Kanto specific thing almost. Maybe Lenley used that to get Kanto there. We don't know, but what we do know is that he is picking up 3 points there, played flawlessly. And what else is there to say? Congrats.
Yeah. We have that much done. We do have one more match left in our slot today. It will be Pan against Harrier. And not only are they competing for 3 points in this, they are competing for an interview. So whoever wins this game, we will get in an interview after the game. So stick around for that. It's gonna either be Pan or Harrier. I think we did have Harrier. I'm not sure if you were here or if it was with Toby, but I definitely interviewed Harrier. So interesting to see whether he can get that second interview.
Yeah, I don't think it was with me, but I'm happy with either Pan or Harrier. We have Pan stats on the screen right now, a win rate of 43%, precision 55, average guess time 32 seconds. I want to say this is pretty average.
Yeah, I mean, looks like an average stat. And meanwhile, you know, Harrier, aka Jeff, on the other side, looks quite good here, 58%. Is doing quite well in the league and is on the way of qualifying for the EMEA. But you know, even if we get Pan in an interview, I have personally never heard him talk, so it would definitely be interesting to have a chat with him about his experience in the league. But as you can see, Harrier definitely favorite coming in. Harrier actually in 6th place right now, and if he wins this, he is passing Moo and is getting 5th place.
Yeah, I mean, the grind just pays off for Harrier there. I know he's putting in a lot of work. Also someone you can watch on Twitch. He does like to stream his grinding, his learning. He's doing quizzes, just playing different modes. He's like really the grinder, and yeah, as we see him being placed that far high up, it does pay off. And we start the game right here in Indonesia. A lot of signs. You usually don't like that because you don't usually know which sign to look at. It can be a bit overwhelming.
And Pan is going a very specific island here, so he definitely has seen something here, because I didn't even know that island had coverage, so...
Yeah, it's possible. It looks kind of sandy, which is a good clue for Batam and those islands.
It turns out to just be Batam.
Batam, yeah, interesting. Especially interesting that we didn't have any sign with Batam written. Because I feel like in downtown Batam you would have Batam written more frequently than we had on our location. Yeah, but it does happen.
They just kept it on the low a bit. And I think this is the mountain northeast of Accra. There's not a lot of like mountains in Ghana really. And one of them, like very distinct mountains, is just outside Accra. So I kind of like where Pan is looking right now. Seems like he instantly saw that mountain and was like, yep, that is here. Meanwhile, we have Harrier just being on the map a bit, lining up the road and just trying to find it.
Yeah, definitely if you see some mountains, you're usually south of Kumasi or north of Accra or northeast of Accra along that Togo border. It's really only the places where you get higher mountains in Ghana. So you kind of have to decide whether to go south of Kumasi or north of Accra.
And seems like Pan has found his lineup. Will he be on it? I mean, that is quite literally on it. 5k.
Definitely, that is a 5k indeed. In Ghana, using the mountains, I would assume, to get the right road there.
And another car.
We have another car. This time we don't have a tape on it. Therefore, we do consider a couple more countries with the looks here and with the mirrors visible. Guatemala is the right country here. Also with the red painted bottom poles. It's also a good clue for Guatemala in case you can't see the car or don't want to use it. There's always other stuff to use. Region guessing it can be kind of difficult.
But both of them clicked a bit east of Guatemala City, and it ended up being east, so...
Yeah, that's already very good to know on which side we are. And we are in Japan again. We
This
have
time-
a gray plate. We should be in Kanto, the region around Tokyo here. And we have that guess from Pan. Let's see if Harrier will also end up there. He does indeed. You could line up the mountains as well, if you really want to.
And seems like Pan has just done that without, you know, a lot of effort. Just clicking there, 11 kilometers, not bad. So far flawlessing Harrier in this moving game, but multipliers, Harrier knows a lot of stuff. Anything can happen.
That is true, and we are in Switzerland. With the language, we know that the German spoken language is more in the north of the country.
It was French.
With French, you are more in the southern and southwestern part. And
Good.
we had some French on the sign, therefore we consider the south or the southwest or far west.
True. There was actually a trilingual sign there. It was German, French, and Italian. Very interesting.
Oh, maybe we are further south then, but Pan is committing towards far west.
I
I
like
don't
the
know if
guess.
you would get Italian there. Do you get Italian far
I mean,
west?
it's just a very random trilingual sign. Maybe just
Okay.
for official purposes, it has to be in 3 languages.
Because close to Italy, I feel like we would get way higher mountains and spiky alpine mountains. Whereas the northwest has more of these slight hills. And we move over to this round. We have yellow road lines, which puts you in the Americas usually, also a little bit in Asia. And this time again we had a white signpost. But this time it definitely was a white signpost, not a imaginary one as we had earlier on the Manitoba round.
And Harrier instantly locking in on a road. Maybe he knows something.
Or yeah, it looks a bit more northern. But we have Alberta guess from Pan. It was indeed Saskatchewan. Not on half as well, and that's some very good points.
Big strike back there by Harrier, and if he gets even closer on that location and pins it down, that would almost be game. Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, multipliers plus Harrier knows a lot. It's a scary combination.
Indeed, and this time again we have this red tint, and this time I think it is up there. Given the looks, we shouldn't be inland with those greeny mountains.
Yeah, Harrier
So
has
yeah,
a road number.
Polokwane, always a good guess.
Ooh, and
Shout out to Zigzag, the red road goat, and that will close out the game.
just 2 rounds, that's all Harrier needs.
It really took him 2 good rounds there to turn this game around. So Pan isn't really happy about that one, especially given that he really played well after until this round.
Yeah, Pan kind of caught off guard there in the Canada round, just an insta-guess by Harrier. Maybe he knows the coverage. I mean, it was Gen 3, so definitely knowable. And then the ZA Pan tried to put on the pressure, but it didn't work out. As we go into an Australia with snow?
Yeah, I mean, with snow, I only really consider what? Victoria. Does Tasmania have? Because it's so hilly, it looks like Tas, but we have snow.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's snow coverage, but by the looks I would say it okay.
Whoa.
It was Victoria. And not only Victoria, also very, very good guess within Victoria. Of course, with mountains, you only really consider the eastern half, but still, Pan right on it. Starting off strong again in this match.
Yeah, definitely knowing where the pockets with snow coverage are in a country like Australia, where it's pretty rare to see snow. There's some in Tasmania, but it's usually very slight. A lot of coverage in like the Victoria New South Wales border in those alpine national parks have some snow. But let's focus on this round. We have very bad pavement, and it looks Eastern European.
I mean, not much to talk here. We also had some Cyrillics on the door. With Cyrillic language, you can rule out a lot, and it is just in Sofia, in some suburb.
Yeah, Harrier breaking the flawless here. I mean, it was only 1 round, but it was a pretty good guess by Pan. If that was a multiplier round, that would have been pretty devastating, but Harrier can be lucky to not have lost that much health, and meanwhile, I mean, it's just the freest road in all of Iceland, right?
first Iceland round we have today. Is it the Southern Road? It looks like the... What's the town called? Vik?
Vik?
Yeah, it is Vik. It could be the mountains around Vik in the southern span. But I am
Pan
not
seems quite
sure.
confident here. He's lining up this road and it also looks pretty good. So
Yeah,
definitely could be there as
Iceland.
well.
We have seen a lot of games being decided on Iceland.
With the new
actually
coverage,
in this league, yeah, with the new coverage. And it was the southern span, not around Vik, but we'll take the southern guess there. And that's some good points, a good strike back from Harrier. Getting the right road. Getting the right road is quite the shout in Iceland.
Yeah,
with the
there's like one road going around the whole country pretty much. So if you have a somewhat built up road, it will probably build that one or a highway in downtown Reykjavik.
It's still always nice to say you got the right road. Just for the mental. And we are back to Ukraine. Again, a round where I would say there's no strong clue.
I would say the soil looks slightly red. No, maybe not. Actually, maybe not.
It looks very generic to me.
Yeah, my guess would have been south as well, just by the looks, but
Yeah.
very hard to say why.
And it turns out to be in the eastern half again. So maybe east is the go-to guess if there's no strong clue.
It's also just very
Who
risky
knows?
to guess there because there are some pockets of coverage, but the rest is really not covered. I mean, between like Kharkiv and Donetsk, there's nothing. Between Dnipro and Donetsk, there's just no coverage at all.
Yeah, definitely not that much coverage in the east. Therefore, always a risk you have to take. And we are in Indonesia now. We have those black license plates where you get 3 sections of white text on it. If there's 3 white sections, you are in Indonesia. If there are 2 white sections, you are in Malaysia. Pretty good to know if you don't have anything else to work with besides a license plate. And with the tiled roofs, you consider Java more usually. However, it's looking quite weird for Java.
Yeah, I can't tell whether this is Java, South Kalimantan, or Lampung. I'm kind of torn between those 3. Doesn't seem like a Lampung roof, but the rest fits.
Yeah. I like the South Kalimantan guess as well. Very possible with that landscape, and it is indeed. He is happy about that.
In the right city there. I mean, he probably just clicked the biggest city, Banjarmasin or whatever it's called, but pretty risky guess there. I mean, because if it is not Kalimantan, I mean, if it's not in that city, it will definitely not be Kalimantan because you only really get tiled roofs in the south. And the other options would be Java and Sumatra, so pretty confident guesser by Pan.
Yeah, definitely. In Indonesia, you're always pretty much forced to commit with all those big body of waters between all the islands, which will automatically give you way more points if you are right. You're kind of forced to commit, of course. There are a lot of players who are known to click in the water. There's one name in mind I have immediately, which is Armani. Armani loves to guess in the waters. We have seen Zigzag doing a lot of water guesses here and there. Always possible.
Yeah.
Never to blame them for that one. But yeah, committing usually will give you a lot of points. As we saw there. But going over to the NMPZ mode right now, we are in round 2 already. Nothing happened yet.
Yeah, and this just seems like a very easy round as well, right?
Yep, definitely. Again, we have, as I said earlier, if you have the mountain ridge moving towards the southeast, it's more likely to be in the northern span of Oman. However, it's a pretty long span. They are still trying to line something up.
It's very hard to line something up.
Nothing to blame, but I think Harrier is actually in the UAE. Maybe because we don't see a car, but we are looking at the back, therefore it's just hidden.
Yeah, there is some coverage there where he guesses with new Gen 4. It would be the normal black car instead of like a pickup. It is possible in UAE, but yeah, he was not happy about the guess because we saw his reaction after. He's like, okay, that was probably pretty easy, not sure why I went UAE, but we have the grass in the middle in the road, Ireland.
Hey, you see some grass in the middle of the road, you just click Ireland, and in the best case, you guess 4.6 kilometers off the exact pin as Harrier did.
Yeah,
we will take that.
By
No
his reaction,
points,
he was like,
but-
"Yup, sure, why not?"
but we will take that one for sure. And on to the next round. We are driving on the right. It looks Asian, therefore, we're driving right. Should be in the Philippines.
Big city, Manila.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Probably. Most likely. Couple other cities possible, but if you go by the chances, you don't wanna try something funny, you will end up around there. And it is indeed, and we have a water gas. Or is he on the port?
I mean, I'm not.
I
I think he
don't know.
just clicked from space, and that's why he ended up there. But
That is very fair. Very, very fair.
I don't think we have to take that too seriously, as we have the famous Huelva trees. But
Huelva trees.
they can also
you
be
can
more
also have
north.
them north of Balıkesir, those trees.
yeah, and you can
Just
also get them near
saying.
Mersin. Just saying, but
Just saying.
I think it should be Spain. But we did see a round where Mu went Valladolid, and it was Valladolid. But usually I associate these trees with very far south in Spain, around Huelva. But who really knows?
The Huelva trees.
Yeah, maybe. Ooh, switch, and it was Huelva. Far south, and that?
Oh, he stays alive with 115 HP. And this is where it's coming down to those small points.
Oh, but big
He
countries.
could have gained here and there, and now he's looking back, and now he's thinking, I should have really guessed Manila. Not that it have mattered, but if you do that a couple of times, you can collect a sweet 115 points.
I mean, Harrier got the
But
maximum out of the
on
Ireland
a
round,
round
so...
like this, I think Pan is happy to get this round.
yeah.
Because he can definitely turn it around here. This can be a lot of sections along the north in the US.
Yeah, I
Because
don't
I could
know.
see this from being from Iowa all the way to New York.
Yeah, I can see this being like Wisconsin even. This is... It's pretty hard to say. The grid not being north-south directly makes me more think about east, but it's very hard to say. And it's not even the US.
It is Canada. It is Ontario.
Nobody
Good way
guessing
to
there.
pick up a couple points, but hey, if he would have guessed Ontario, if he would have picked up the right country, that could have been game.
And this is not
We are
something...
back
This
in-
is not something Pan wants to see, because this is just a roulette whether he stays alive or not. He is committing, though. He is committing north.
I mean, I would still be happy if I'm Pan to get a country that's not that easy to reach and guess. To know there is still a chance, but I think
That's
that
enough.
should definitely be enough. It is barely. And Harrier is picking up the win. What a game. What a game.
I mean, I called it Huelva trees, guys.
Yeah,
Put your
put him
notepads
in.
out. Technically, I also called that on a round, and Mu ratioed me the hell out of it because he did go via the lead, and it was there, and that's where Pan was initially. So he was thinking about that round that we had on stream with Mu. But that's just a theory by me. But other than that, I always go Huelva there, just by the trees. But very well played by Harrier. You know, just that one slip up in Indonesia, but who can really blame him on a urban round that was pretty hard. Getting tiled roofs in Kalimantan is pretty rare.
Yeah, I would say we saw it from either side, from Pan and from Harrier. Some very, very great guesses from either side. But Harrier was there when he had to be, and that secured him the win here, getting 2 points.
Getting 2 points, and also he will have the honor of getting interviewed by us two yet again. Although I think, as you mentioned last time, it was me and Toby, not you and me, but he will be in call shortly, and we can ask him a few questions about how he felt about this game and how he feels in general. But I feel like he's feeling pretty happy about that one. And you know, from going UAE on Oman, or from going to winning on Oman just barely, yeah, must feel pretty good. And I just heard word Harrier is ready for interviews, so let's welcome Harrier to the interview. Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Oh, Jeff.
Welcome
Hello
in.
there.
Very well played today, I have to say. I mean, just that one slip up. How did you feel when Pan got that South Kalimantan round right? Because I feel like that was a very hard round.
Honestly, it was just like play. Like he made some really nice guesses. Like there was a thick round as well. Like play for getting that too. Yeah, I was like, yeah, makes sense. I was wondering why there could have been a central Java poll, which confused me. So I do need to recap where else you can get that sometimes. But you just got to credit Pan for the amazing guess rates. You know, you can't win them all, obviously. And he had some great guesses in that game and deserved to win that.
Yeah, you also mentioned the Vic guess. I also was very impressed by that guess. Obviously, I feel like if you have snow coverage in Australia, there's only a few pockets where you really get that, so maybe learning that definitely pays off. Any questions, Gelotris, you have in particular for Harrier today?
Yeah, I mean, for today, not really. You played really well, Harrier, of course. A little butcher here and there happens in every game, but you have been on point when you had to be. And I think you have a 2-week break now, right?
I do play later this evening, but after this week, I have a week off, so I've got a whole week.
So would you mind sharing with us what your plans are on that week? Are you grinding anything specific? Did you prepare anything?
Well, funny you ask, Gelotris. On my week off, I am weighing up doing one country, like just studying one country probably for a whole week that I wouldn't normally have time for. With, you know, if I'm playing every week, you have to like balance all the other big countries out. So yeah, I'm weighing up Gelotris' favourite country, Jeff. So should be fun, and looking forward to getting my head down, getting some studies done, but also just enjoying the week. You know, I just want to enjoy the week and learn some Turkey, cause why not? You know.
Why not?
Hey,
yeah.
You are very high up there on the leaderboard. You can lean back a little bit, not too much, but definitely some room there. So yeah, congrats on doing so well in the Pro League.
Thank you.
Yeah, Harrier, in 6th place, you almost could have gone to 5th place if you won that game 2-0. You're now, I think, 1 point behind Mu, or pretty much on the same points. So definitely on a very good standing. Anything you have to say about how the World League has gone so far? I mean, I think we talked to you before, but maybe, you know, something has changed in your mind. But I think you're happy. You're gonna be happy. But anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, well, it's been a very good journey. Like at the start, you know, the recovery from a very bad start to the position I am in is, you know, shows that, you know, my mentality has improved throughout the weeks. And even when I've been a bit on and off, I found ways to win, and that's what I've been really doing in trains. Like, yes, I've made a mistake here, but keep my head down. Just don't quicksand. Don't let the last round get to you. And it started to pay off, and I've been putting the grind in, and it's a nice surprise because I didn't expect to be that high. But I do believe I've got the potential to be that high. And of course, there's lots of game in hands, but the key thing is I've played those games. People behind me who have got games in hand, they've still got to prove those wins. So, you know, although I might be 6 now, it might drop, but at the end of the day, I'm just focusing on my game and only my games, and got to prepare the best I can, and that's what I've been doing, and, you know, and it's been paying off, and just got to keep doing what I'm doing, and, you know, always try and look for ways to improve, whether it is knowledge-based or just the mental side, decision-making, because my decision-making has definitely got better, and that's been making me win these tight games.
Yeah, not much to add there. Mentality definitely plays a very important thing, because you can definitely be, you know, a bit upset after you make a bad guess, but getting that, you know, headspace directly, just locking in again, definitely an underrated quality. And I think being a top player, you definitely have to have that mentality. But yeah, Harrier, thank you very much for this interview. I wish you the best of luck in the future in the World League. I mean, you're basically qualified for the majors, and wish you good luck in that as well. Thanks for being here.
Cheers, Jeff. Let's see.
Yeah, cheers, Jeff. That was Harrier yet again in the interview, and I think that pretty much rounds up the day for today, Gelotris. Anything you want to shout out again before we end this broadcast? Anything you want to maybe look back on that we saw in the matches? Anything really?
Not really. I mean, we had a lot of NMPC games actually today. That's always fun to see. And as expected, I mean, I was going into the league today, looking at the bracket, looking at the matchups, and I knew we will have some bangers, and we indeed had them. Every game was so intense, therefore I'm really happy we had a great showcase of gameplay. And yeah, it's actually not done for today.
Yeah.
We have more games later on.
I did not know that, but apparently we have one more game mode left in this game, so we're just gonna quickly jump into an NPC game. Why not? Because just have a bit of fun. NPC is always the most hype mode, and it's 1-1. We actually see Anu putting up a fight against Stefan.
So yeah, shout out to everyone who didn't close the stream yet and is still sticking around. You will get blessed with another NPC gameplay here between Anu and Stefan.
And what are we looking at here? I'm in Asia, but I don't know where. I'm in Malaysia, Indo, I don't know.
It looks like hilly Cambodia, but surely it's not. But I do like the Asia shout. Let's see. I was not thinking Philippines though.
It is Malaysia, it
Malaysia?
seems like.
Yeah.
Definitely makes sense with the red soil.
Also the roads. I kind of ruled out, not really Thailand, but definitely the Philippines. You don't get that type of pavement too often there. So we go over to this very, very flat New Zealand round. Especially around Christchurch. You see that a lot if you don't have anything to your east as well.
Yep. Usually, if you don't have anything to your east, you go a bit further south, because if you're just next to Christchurch, you see that hilly peninsula there. That's like an old volcano. That will be to your east. But we don't see that, so we would go a bit further south, and that's what Stefan does. Pretty much perfect play by him there.
Yep, you can kind of see the terrain here on the map as well, where you get that slight elevation in the pocket east. Which you not always see, but if you go by chances, of course. Is that a Vic bollard?
That looks like a bollard. I don't know what bollard, but we have an instant guess in South Australia by Anu, and we also have a South Australia by Stefan.
Okay, that makes more sense, because it didn't really look like Victoria was kind of a lookalike.
Stefan doesn't seem to be beatable here. He just is not missing, and he's making some incredible region guesses within states and within countries. But Anu wants to keep the pace up here. Just instant guesses Sri Lanka here.
Yeah, we have a poll. It doesn't look like a Sri Lanka poll.
Yeah, but no, he's taking his chances.
He did, yeah.
Taking his chances there, insta-guessing. But yeah, Yucatan makes a lot of sense with the white rocks. So that was definitely the final game. We see Stefan winning yet again. Flawless game in the NMPZ in 5 rounds. And we see Anu turning around.
Insane how Stefan pulls these off really from day to day. Lately he didn't make any mistakes at all, not one butcher I feel like, at least from the games we saw.
Yeah, I mean we did see that Anu definitely took a game off them as well. And we also have one more game that was played beside us, which was Trista against Finnbar, and Trista had a pretty good day today, but against Finnbar it was not quite enough, losing in the NMPZ mode. I mean not the game he has to win to be at the top. Definitely Finnbar, very tough opponent.
Yeah, definitely picking up 1 point from Finnbar is already pretty good, especially after you picked up 6 points already. Getting 7 points out of the day, I would say that's great. Especially with me predicting that Trista should be high up the leaderboard. I'm, of course, happy to see him grinding up there.
Look how high he has climbed already. He is in 14th place. We saw him at place 28 not just 2 weeks ago, and then GeoGuessr was like, guys, Trista's underrated by the way. And now he's number 13 already, so he's getting there.
He did hear that, and he decided to lock in for me. Thank you, Trista, not letting me down. And now it's it for today, Ziggy. Now we are there. At least not for today, but for this time slot, for the early time slot. There will be more games in 4 hours.
Yeah, in 4 hours it will be, I imagine, Bloom and Jake again. Casting Bloom. Had to take a week off last week. I think he just had a slight cough or something, but he is back to his strengths, so keep an eye out for that. 4 hours left to go, so GeoGuessr is not over for today. But yeah, as you said, this time it's actually the end of this stream. Professional streamer, by the way, doesn't know when to end the show, but this time I'm quite sure it's the end. GeoGuessr, anything this time? Do you have anything left before we close out the stream?
Not really. I mean, I said it earlier. I was just very happy with the game today, how everything turned out. Everything flawless, everything good, and I'm just happy to see you guys next week again.
Yeah, thank you very much, GeoGuessr, and thank you very much everyone for watching. It was a blast as always, and I think we will be casting next week as well. It's going to be me and you again because Toby's not there, so the dream team is still alive. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.
Good.
Dear fans of GeoGuessr, it's time for us to explore the world. Come and support your favorite players as they fight it out in the virtual boxing ring. The prize? A ticket to the World Cup. This year's major locations are Japan, inside the iconic Tokyo Tower. United States at DreamHack Dallas, one of the largest gaming festivals in the world. And finally, Sweden at the newest gaming festival, Glitched, in Jönköping. Go to geoguessr.com/World Cup for more information. We will see you there.
I got a chance to see Blink lift the trophy after that insane grand final. With 2025 right around the corner, I have an idea.
GeoGuessr 2025 World Cup. Denmark. Let me show you what Copenhagen has to offer. We have historic buildings. World-class dining. We got the best beer in the world. Presumably. I welcome you to Copenhagen and the KV Hall, the venue of the 2025 GeoGuessr World Cup Finals.